Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Liucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin Buchanan.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Been in college baseball for a while now, but I've never experienced anything like 12th man.
The other schools are like, we're freaking Texas A&M, man. Like,
this one's special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
The epitome of what this team has done, right? Gavin homers, Jace homers, Braden homers, Chris Cortez, 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Nick Savage, I had a direction I wanted to start off the show with, but props on the new intro. It'll be sprinkled in there. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. I had this vision this week. I was like, I really hope I can open up with women's tennis because that means that Texas A&M wins the national championship. So we're going to open up with that national championship. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Olin Buchanan with me here as he is every, Monday, but morning. Monday, May 20th, 2024. Kay Naegeli is joining us here in the Go Hour to start things off because she was covering women's tennis for us. Kay, let's get into it. We've got ourselves a freaking championship.
It's crazy. Yeah, first ever national championship for women's tennis, and Mark Weaver. He's been with that program for 25 years and his 9th as a head coach. Just such an accomplishment. I mean, you kind of thought it was going to happen. They got the doubles point early, but then, singles play, they started to fall back a little bit, got a little, had to have some theatrics, of course. It's a national championship, so.
Well, it was weird because, we didn't start off great, right? And then it goes indoors, and, the light turns on for them. I feel like there was this, and there's a lot of subplots to this, and if you follow the SEC tournament, there was some complaining about Carson Brandstein being where she was ranked and where she was going, and theatrics there as well. The team that eliminated A&M in the SEC final was?
Georgia.
How many times did A&M lose to Georgia this year?
3 times.
And who beat Georgia in the NCAA championship match?
Texas A&M.
Give us some of the specifics in this one.
So they played Georgia 3 times this season, 1 preseason before SEC play, 1 during SEC play, 1 for the SEC tournament title crown, which Georgia took, and then again on Sunday was the 4th time, the first time that they have beat them this year. So quite an accomplishment. Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned with doubles play, they did start outside, kind of started off slow, but then moved inside after a brief delay.
It was a weather delay, right?
A weather delay, yes, inclement weather, and then got it done doubles play, and then singles kind of had some difficulties throughout, but Nicole Kieran secured the match. That is the video you're seeing right now. She is also a Texas transfer, so I'm sure she's on the right side of things now.
Yeah. OB, we know Mark Weaver pretty well. You were telling me before. First off, just a great guy, right?
Great guy.
Regardless of a championship, just a great guy.
Yeah, celebrate the championship, of course, but when great things happen to great people, it makes it that much better. Man, he's had 3 teams in a row that now that he's won it, but the previous 2 years were on the premises, right?
Yep.
So what an amazing job he's done.
He has done a great job.
He's assembled a great team, and
you talk to him, he's
win a champion. He's such a kind of understated guy.
Yeah, he's just very nice. But there's this focus, mean's not the right word. There's this focus, when it's go time, he turns it on. But if you talk to him at the gym or at HEB, hey, he's like your best neighbor.
He could be anybody, every man. He could have been that guy that sells you insurance.
So let's maybe rebrand Texas A&M as Titletown because, sorry guys, I'm going to take advantage of this situation right now. A&M wins the national championship in women's tennis. What possibly could happen at the end of today?
Could they win another national championship?
Women's golf is in the mix right now, right?
Yeah.
You've got that going on. Women's softball just won their regional. They're headed to Austin to take on the number 1 team, right?
It's a big one.
You've got track, who could win a national championship. And, oh, by the way, baseball. could win a national championship.
What an amazing weekend! I think every team that I like won, and I'm not talking about just the Aggies. I'm talking about like pro sports too. It was a great weekend, and then to top it all off, I watched Schlossnagle play guitar for Patrick.
Yeah,
and it was.
How was Troubadour?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah,
I'll never miss it again.
Was he actually strumming up there?
Oh, he was up there. Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
So an amazing weekend, but to win a national championship and possibly two for the weekend. Wow, it's good.
The first
good
national
weekend
championship since I've been here. The 3 years. So the curse has been lifted.
Yeah, the curse is no longer.
We're champions. And, so props to the women's tennis team. And now there's chances for individual championships. That starts later on this afternoon.
Yes, they will get going later
They're
on.
not done.
Nope.
We will have Coach Weaver in studio at some point this week, or whenever he wants to come. It could be next year. Whenever he's ready to come in studio, we will chat with him.
If we can't get Dreamweaver as the bumper music when we come back, then something's just off.
They're never off there at Bryan Broadcasting when it comes to the music selection. Never off. Kate, your weekend was kind of all over the place,
It was all over the place, yeah.
So you're covering women's tennis from here. You're also all over softball.
Yes, at all 3 softball games this weekend.
And you were covering baseball as well with an eye on baseball.
I was at 2 of 3 baseball games as well this weekend. So consumed a lot of Aggie sports, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And then at 5:11 this morning, I saw you on the rundown. You were up super early, weren't you?
No, that was from last night.
Oh,
so it may have just stayed on my little browser. But that was probably like 1 a.m.
I was like, she beat me? Because I usually am on there like at 5, and at 5:11.
I should have just took credit for it.
But then I knew you weren't there when I sent you a message. I was like, hey, you want to come on the first segment? Crickets. I was like,
she's not there. That's funny.
Kay, thank you very much. Great work.
Of course.
Appreciate you. OB, should we turn our attention to the baseball team?
Absolutely.
They beat an excellent Arkansas team, right? A team that has pitchers for days.
A bona fide national championship contender, just like A&M is. If Arkansas wins it all,
nobody's going to be surprised.
No one's going to be surprised. And you come in and we get 2 out of 3, and that last one, one of those incredible moments with Ryan Targash delivering the game, well, not game winning, but the win clinching hit to run rule Arkansas. What an amazing! I mean, look, there were other plays.
It was just cool.
that were just bigger. But for Coach Schlossnagle to be, you're about to deliver the knockout punch I don't know if the awareness is the right word, because sometimes you do get lost in the moment, but to be thinking, hey, you know what? I've got this senior on senior day over here, and, he's had some great moments, and then he's, been struggling, and, he's such a team guy. He's out there wearing number 12, coaching first. But hey, let's call him in here and get him ready to pinch hit. And he comes in there and he delivers that hit to close out. You know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of in the spirit of the moment. It kind of reminded me of, and this is before you were working here, but I know you were watching the game. It kind of reminded me of what bowl game is that? Gator Bowl.
Cullen
Gator
Gillespie.
Bowl. Cullen Gillespie, the 12th man scoring that. Yeah, the game was won. But for the 12th man, in this case Targash, he didn't score, but he delivered the score. That's almost a bigger deal in baseball than the actual run. It's just what a great moment, and everybody chanting his name because they really appreciate what the guy's done and empathize with what he's been through. And it was just and for Coach to give him that opportunity, man, if that wasn't an Aggie moment.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Here's what A&M's about.
It is, and what I'll say, look at his face. Like, that's just cool to see. And this is a guy who was expected to be an integral part of the team this year. Mm-hmm. It hasn't worked out that way. He was a huge part of the run in 2010.
Yes, he was.
Huge part of it. And this year it hasn't gone the way he wants. But what a way to walk it off on senior night or senior day, and just kind of like, you don't expect him to. you don't even think about it until it happens, and then it hits you like what a surreal moment for his career, his family to see that. And go ahead.
We were watching on TV, and Irma kept saying his mama. Oh, you know what is his mama? I'm like, yeah, his dad too.
Yeah, daddy's get some love here. And here's what I think about this weekend from a baseball sense. It was the first weekend in 3 weeks that I felt like this was an A&M baseball weekend. Because the way they won games, all right, they went toe-to-toe with the best pitcher in college baseball, and they won. Okay, Ryan Prager went with him, all right? That's
Prager
one game.
and Ossenbeck.
Oh, Evan Oshenbeck. Yeah. They were fantastic, right? And then game 2 gets, you give up the home run.
It was a tough game.
Tough game. Game 3, all your stars hit home runs, all of them, right? And you walk it off. You win by 10 runs against the premier pitching staff in the SEC.
Did not, they all run together, but did not Sorrell have another defensive gem out in left field? Maybe it was in the first game where he catches the ball.
I feel like there's every game he gives you a gem.
One where he's leaping to take away if not a home run, an extra base hit, and then he crashes into the wall. I think that might have been the first game that kept A&M.
It was in the 8th inning of the first. No, excuse me. I think it was in the 11th inning of the first game.
It was in the 10th inning.
10th inning.
We talk about so many things that they do well, and then they made clutch defensive plays. They got clutch pitching. They got big hits, and they you know what they did? They looked like a team that can win the national championship.
They did. And let's just go ahead and realize this. They're going to be home or at a neutral site the rest of the way. They struggled. And by the way, struggling is such a relative term. They didn't win series. We're used to them winning series. Those series on the road at LSU and Ole Miss were very winnable series.
Yes, they were. And in fact, really, they could probably point themselves
a play or two.
And say, yeah, we kind of stepped around our own foot on that one.
100%. So now you rest up for a few days. And if you have a chance to win the SEC tournament, cool. Let's go. And if not, no big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's almost, okay, Schlossnagle would probably want to have me tarred and feathered for saying this. It might even be better if they lose early. Maybe, look, once you get out there, you're playing to win. I get it.
100%.
What I'm saying is, though, if you don't win for whatever reason,
but
you're resting your guys for the tournament that really matters.
But follow me on this one. This is a week of championships, right?
Yeah.
You just won women's tennis.
Mm-hmm.
You might win women's golf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why not throw in there an SEC baseball championship all within a week of each other?
Oh, look. Every game they're playing, I'm going to be rooting for them to win without a doubt. I'm just saying that, quite frankly, are you better served for the NCAAs?
Oh, I get it. Look, and in fact, I'll let you guys know a little bit of behind the scenes. We actually have already interviewed Coach Schlossnagle because they're heading out this morning to Hoover. So we interviewed him yesterday afternoon, and he goes into the delicate balance of wanting to win the SEC tournament, but not to cost you in the long run. And
right.
And you've got to, you mix and match that first match, the first game, right? And you figure out how things are going. And then, you know what? You give Prager a nice start potentially on Thursday, get him some innings because you want him to stay fresh and flow and in rhythm. All those things are possible.
Win at the right pace, right, David? That's what Schloss was saying. Winning at the right pace.
It's like how many basketball coaches I've known over the years that would, if they know they're in the NCAA tournament,
it's just in and out.
They don't care if. I've talked to multiple basketball coaches before.
Yep.
They don't care if they lose in the conference tournament, and it's not the same in baseball. But in basketball, you're playing. You don't want to be playing on a Saturday or a Sunday knowing that you may have to be traveling for a Thursday game in the NCAA tournament. It's just the conference tournaments are for the teams really that haven't solidified a place in the playoffs. It gives them one last chance. But if you're in, yes, once the game starts, you're going to compete to win.
Yeah, and no argument here. I'm just saying for the good vibes, let's win the whole darn thing and stay healthy.
Let's win everything.
Let's just win everything that comes in front of you. Dominate.
Just win it.
I like the way you think, OB. I do. sometimes. All right, if you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us. You can text us at 979-693-1150. This is Coffee Talk presented by TexAgs Coffee. Beat the hell out of mornings by going to texags.com/coffee. Get yourself some TexAgs coffee. Let's give one away, shall we?
Let's do.
All right, won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
What number should we go with?
12.
Okay. Why not? Let's do 12.
Targosh.
Targo 12. The 12th man.
Probably win 12 championships
this week, right? Texture number 12 that sends in the word coffee to 979-693-1150 will get you a free bag of TexAgs coffee. We go behind the glass and we say hi to the Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up with you, man?
Well, there's so much going on. Y'all mentioned it with Kay in there, but Aggie softball dominated their regional 3-0, and like y'all said, they're heading to Austin to face the number 1 seeded Longhorns. But a lot of Aggies had some good regionals. Obviously, you know who I'm going to talk about first, Emily Kennedy. She went 12 innings, allowed 5 hits, no runs. All 12 of those innings were actually against Texas State, so she shut them out for 2 games. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Coco Woolley batted 700 for the regional, and that's not like 2 at-bats. She had, I think, over 10 at-bats and hit over 700, had an RBI, couple runs scored, stole a base. And Rylan Wiggins had a dinger yesterday, 2 RBIs for her, 3 runs scored, batted almost 500 for the regional. So Trisha Ford's squad is rolling. And, yeah, Blake, we can throw up there's the moment where they captured it all. So it's good to see them rolling and advancing on. And, hey, why not go upset the number 1 Texas Longhorns and head to Oklahoma City?
When is that game?
They start Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Kay Naegeli will be there with all the TexAgs coverage.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Can I, before I go check in with Mac, can I give some props to the Dallas Mavericks for a moment? Were you watching that game Saturday?
I wasn't. I was at...
you're a troubadour.
But my son called me to tell me all about it.
So great. Houston fans, Dallas fans, it's been a great few months for you outside of the Cowboys, right? You've got your Rangers winning a World Series. You've got your Mavs in the Western Conference Finals, and the Dallas Stars are in the Western Conference Finals. Pretty cool times there in the Metroplex.
It is. It is. I mean, some Mac was in Dallas this weekend partying it up.
Is that right?
Mavericks, yeah.
Well, let me do one last thing on the Mavs. Did you hear Luka Doncic's quote earlier in the week?
I must break you.
No, he didn't say that. No, he's been kind of banged up this series,
yes.
And they said, hey, you're injured. Are you going to be able to play? He's like, injuries and I forget the exact quote, but basically he says it's in my Real Madrid blood that I don't miss games.
So yeah, golly,
what a smart guy.
Wish he played wide receiver for A&M.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Mac's there. What's up, Mac Attack?
Good morning, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Mavs won.
Were you in Dallas for it?
I was. I was downtown this weekend.
Yeah?
Celebrating with everyone downtown. Also visiting family. So it was a really exciting weekend. It was great.
Yeah. Were you around the AAC?
I was.
Yeah?
I was on McKinney Avenue. If you guys know the Dallas area.
Yeah.
So I was deep in downtown right there.
What were you doing?
Yeah, were you at a library or something?
No, I was just celebrating. My birthday's tomorrow. So.
Happy birthday!
Yes.
So library celebration, interesting.
Yeah, just
because her dad's watching right now, so I'm trying to find out exactly what was going on.
Yeah, you're doing it for the pops right now.
He was there with me.
Oh, okay. See, they were in the library.
Yeah.
What do you got news for us? Because I know we've kind of covered all of your topics, but I'll let you kind of set the table.
I'll go into Aggies women's golf. They have a chance to win the national championship today. Adela's leading the way with 6 strokes individually. And then we also have Zoe Slaughter, who's ranked 21st. We have Bianca Fernandez, who's ranked 34th. And then we also have Jenny Park, who are ranked 86th. They're leading the way. They're beating Stanford, who's in 2nd. LSU's 3rd. Clemson's in 4th. And then Northwestern's in 5th. They tee off today at 2:20 p.m.
2:20. So there's a chance that Adela wins the individual national championship, right? And the A&M women's golf team wins the team. Again,
a good chance. We're not even. It's not like. So you're saying there's a chance? No, there's a good chance.
I know you asked for the Dreamweaver next, but at some point during the go hour, all I do is win, no matter what. We've got to play that.
I don't know that.
Oh, that's on your playlist, OB.
I don't know.
It's definitely your type of music.
There's one because all I can do is dream.
No. We'll come back with that one. Anything else, Mac Attack?
Track and field heads to Fayetteville to start off the regional competition. Competition starts on Wednesday, May 22nd. So
Wednesday, Eric Asaris.
Eric the dinosaur.
He misses work all the time for this, little passion of his of running.
Just to run.
Just to run and maybe win a national championship.
Run around in circles.
I was watching the SEC. I was at the gym and they were replaying the SEC, the SECs with track and field. Right. And I saw Eric all over the television running. I was like, that's our guy.
It's our guy.
Getting more airtime on the SEC network than he does on TexAgs.
And I'm sure he appreciates the airtime on the SEC network a whole bunch more.
All right, we'll come back. Let's get a little bit deeper into the whole Ryan Targac not situation, the walk-off. And we got some football things. It was a great moment. And we've got some text messages. People are celebrating this national championship. As
well they should.
Well, we're going to keep celebrating it.
Woohoo!
Were people partying on Northgate last night?
Well, I was not out there.
You weren't out there?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Thought maybe you'd be out there. All right. We'll hit a break here. Right now, let's talk about the Association of Former Students. If you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, they've got a bunch of jobs out there at the Association of Former Students. They want to help out Aggies, give great opportunities to Aggies with awesome positions in fundraising, former student programs, and they've got a lot more marketing as well. They are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization serving A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss an opportunity to help out the association with all their cool events like Howdy Socials, Aggie Rean Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining a team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It's the Association of Former Students. Do it again on me. Here we go. Here we go. Watch this. Oh my gosh! I take that back. Oh my gosh!
All those years sitting next to Gabe Bach, I can't control myself.
Did someone just kill a cat? Oh my
It sounded
god!
like it.
Holy smokes!
When I sing in the shower, the water stops.
Oh my god! What are we here with TexAgs Radio?
But you know what, man? I was in church at the choir, and they said, "Hey, make joyful noises unto the Lord." And I started saying, "Okay, we said joyful noises." Shut up.
I don't know what that was. Hey, it's the go hour. Did you kill another cat?
Heck yeah!
Holy smokes!
But you know what? When you're celebrating, you don't care.
This is true. Can you tell the people what show this is?
This is Go Hour.
Who's it presented by, though?
CC Creations.
Yeah, the warehouse there.
Yeah.
And this studio's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah,
I love this studio. What do we call it?
The studio?
Yeah.
Rollo Insurance.
No, Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah, they can insure my voice.
The entire presentation, though, is
David Gardner's a gem of a guy. Gem of a guy.
Hey, so Richard Zane gave us a little clarification.
Yeah.
So Adela can win the individual national championship for women's golf tonight.
That's a national championship.
Right? The women's golf still has a couple of days to go, hopefully, but they're leading, and then they'll reseed after today, and then there'll be I think he said, what was it, the quarter, the semis tomorrow, and then the actual championship would be on Wednesday, is I believe the way it happens. But we can have a national championship with Adela as soon as today. She's on pace to have the greatest run there in the national championship, break the record.
6-stroke lead.
Yep. I like it. I love it.
You know what?
I like it. I love it.
We take it with Tim McGraw. Take it with if she wins by 1 stroke, we'll take it.
Yeah. And if she wins by 30, I'll be happy too.
Me too.
I'll be very happy about that. Hey, so Nick Savage, I was very impressed with Nick this weekend because I saw him kind of like, he's working the camera, right? Like he's like becoming full-fledged media guy. Like he's doing everything, which is awesome. It helps our company. And I'm seeing him go section to section there at Olsen. He captured the awesome moment by Ryan Targach. So let's take a look at it. Obi, you can comment if you want, but let's go to, because this is our footage. Here it is. Targo coming up to the plate.
That was great. Just a great moment. I can only imagine what was going through his mind. And then he hits it. You know he had to feel it. He's probably going to say, get down, hoping that ball's going to drop in. And then it really wasn't close. It dropped in without a doubt.
Well, the embrace with Michael Early, the rest of the team comes in. Just a cool moment.
Because, you know, at that level, you're always hoping you're going to make money and everything, but for everybody that's played sports, I'm sure Mac can agree, you'll agree, I believe, is the first thing, the base of it. You want to be good, and you want to contribute to your team winning.
Yeah.
And that's what you at the foundation, what you really want to do. You just want to help your team win, and to have a moment like that. Amazing.
Not to give you guys too much of what Schloss is going to talk about in 30 minutes, but one of the things he said was, he had a real conversation with Targo a month or so ago, and he's like, look, you are still in our plans. You're still going to have one of these big moments for this team. And Schloss was like, it happened yesterday, and there's more still potentially to
even
come.
Bigger moments, hopefully.
Yeah. And he even said, like, imagine winning a national championship. Like, that's what it's all about. And this team has an absolute chance to do that.
You know, when you look at A&M's home record this year, and I don't know what it is, but I know it's amazing because they've only lost, 10 games, 11 games all year?
Right.
They're hard to beat anyway, but they're really hard to beat at home. So understanding that all the games that matter from here until the College World Series are going to be played at Blue Bell Park, you got to feel good about how this team's chances of at least getting to Omaha.
It says, BDR says, Arkansas fans are angry.
What are they angry about?
I don't know. I mean, it was a good baseball series. I wasn't angry at LSU or Ole Miss. Like, they had a better weekend than A&M did that weekend. You move on. What's there to be angry about, guys? Let's see. Chop Kong. That can't be a real name. Chop Kong says, Dallas Stars won their series. Yes, they did. They were awesome. Yeah. Chuck says, give Kay a raise. Her write-up on women's tennis championship is excellent. Like many Aggie teams, TexAgs bench is deep. She's a starter.
We got good coaches here.
We do. Look, I'm very excited about the direction with Trev Alberts, no doubt about it. I'll give Ross this. He hired some really good coaches. He hired some excellent coaches.
You know, Trish is doing the job. Obviously, the Dreamweaver's been doing the job. Craton's doing the job. Schlossnagle.
Oh, by the way, they could win a national championship. Hello, I don't even think we mentioned them.
You know, Henry's already been here, but he keeps doing the job.
He keeps doing the job. Yep, no doubt about it. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Makai McDonald. Mac, I know we got some text messages. You want to read a couple of them for us, please? Your mic's got to turn on, though.
Everyone loved your intro today with starting off with women's tennis, so they wanted to give you your kudos, David, because I know you don't really feel like you get a lot of credit at times.
What? Do I feel like I don't get a lot of credit?
Yeah, see, David's not going to fight anybody today. Everybody's in a good mood today. Everybody's
I haven't been in a fight since 1998, OB. 98, and I was a college kid. I'm sorry. That just but I wish
it was at Baylor against 5 guys. Oh, no, wait. That was my former co-host there.
Did he fight 5 guys at the same time?
5 guys at Baylor.
Gabe, I love you.
Beat them all. One Gabe Bach equals 5 Baylor students.
Hey, he's been working out.
Yeah.
Props to him. Mac, what else?
Texas A&M bass fishing team, Ashton Hurd and Trevor Johnson won the college bass tournament on Sam Rayburn this weekend with 20.
What?
Wait, we got a bass.
we got another championship,
and we already won meat. We already won meat judging earlier this year.
Holy.
And now we're going for the fish. Poultry's next.
Oh gosh,
we're taking care of the whole every food group. We're dominating the food group.
Holy smokes! All right, Mac, if you tell us another championship, I'm just leaving the show right now.
I don't have any. I don't have any more.
The bass fishing. So would Lake Bob Sandlin be considered, home lake, home water?
Who wants to take me bass fishing? You want
Naegeli's brother.
No, Steve will take me. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Her brother.
You know what? I gotta apologize.
Her brother's the fish whisperer.
Oh, that dude is like, my kids knew who he was. They're like, Dad, he's super famous. Kay's dad is probably thinking, Steve's probably thinking, please, Kay, why did you give Nuño my phone number? He thinks I'm Tim Allen from Tool Time. I call him about everything. When it comes to home repair, he's the first call I make.
That Naegeli family is pretty amazing, actually. You wonder what happened with Kay.
I know, right? All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. I want to do some football, all right? We got some football. It's never a bad time to win a football, right? This is the absolute worst time of year, not for football, to be dealing with joint pain. If you can't go enjoy the outdoors, you're missing out, especially if you got family and younger kids at home or you got grandkids you want to throw the ball with. You want to get out there doing great things. You need to do it with QC Kinetics to help you get through the summer months. You don't want to miss out anymore. They want to help you learn how you can use your body's own biologics from your own body to give you life in your achy joints. So if your knees hurt or if your hips, your back, your shoulder, whatever it may be, they want to help you feel good again doing the things that you've been able to do. They want to restore and repair that damaged tissue. No surgery, no downtime. It is awesome. They don't use, they're basically just going to use a shot, right? They're just going to do a needle. There's no incision. It's just a shot out there. The future of medicine is right now with tens of thousands of QC Kinetic patients around the country living their best life. They've been doing it for a while, and they want to make sure that you are feeling great and out there doing what you love to do. That's what they want to make sure. Call them up right now for a free consultation on revolutionary treatments for joint pain. They're here, by the way. The phone number is 979-452-6000, QC Kinetics, 979-452-6000. That is 979-452-6000. What do you think? I can see you jamming this.
Yeah, I think I preferred the Dreamweaver,
but you were bobbing your head. I saw you kind of doing the Olin upper. You know what do they call it? The upper bite, lower. Yeah,
white man's overbite.
Yeah, there you go.
And that what Billy Crystal says in I can't remember which movie it is.
City Slickers. No, I couldn't be silly. Hey, but it's TexAgs Radio, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
When Harry Met Sally.
Great.
That's
movie.
when he says that.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, so let's just kind of, for a moment, go over the championships, okay?
Okay.
Women's tennis just won.
Yes.
Okay. You told us a moment ago, Mac, who won? Is it the bass fishing team?
Kicking bass.
Yes, I did.
And I just found out there was another national championship last
night. Last night.
Last night.
Oh.
The archery team won the national championship. Blake came in here, little Brauninger, as you called him, and he told us about the archery team. I'm trying to find my information here. 2024 overall national team champions at Collegiate Target National. Shout out to the University of, this is our Instagram page, to the University of Cumberland's and University of Pikeville, second and third in Statesboro. But A&M won the whole darn thing.
The arrow's pointing upward.
There's a little, you can't see that, but there's the trophy right there.
So we won archery, women's tennis,
yeah.
bass fishing, meat judging.
Oh, we're meat judgers.
What a year!
Yeah. What else? Yeah, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
You know, women's golf this week.
Just keep it coming.
Do it.
There's got to be another national championship that we just don't know about.
I mean, that's what we do. We're Title Town. That's what it is. Hey, OB, can we talk a little bit about boom or bust with Auburn? Is that okay? Is that
yeah,
okay?
Sure.
So when you think about Auburn this year, what do you think? What do you think their best case scenarios and their worst case scenario? Because I have them personally as best case. A lot of people have them. I think the Vegas has them as a 7.5. Okay. I would, if they're gonna. I think 8 is their top. I don't think some people are picking 9. I don't see 9 based on what I saw from Peyton Thorne last year. I think 6 wins would probably be their bust because if you look at last year's season, OB, they had a chance to beat Alabama at the very end. They had a chance against Georgia at the end, but they also lost some dumb games. One of those being was it New Mexico State that they also lost to, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, New Mexico State beat them.
Yeah, so they were in some games. Sounds familiar. They lost some games that they shouldn't have. And now Hugh Freeze takes over the offense. He will be doing the play calling again like he used to do, taking over that realm. They got a great wide receiver room. I look at them.
Do they have a great wide receiver room?
Great potential.
Potential wide receiver.
I think Cam Coleman's going to be legit.
He might be, but are you as good as a freshman? Are you always going to be ready? I mean,
we learned. No.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, will they be better than they were last year? I believe they will, especially at wide receiver, especially at offensive line. Remember, their offensive line last year, I don't even know what they have, but I know last year was like the group of 5 all-star team.
Yep.
I would probably pick them to win 8 games, and I would say 9 is a possibility, but I would.
Well, let's go through it because I look at this. There's a 3-4 game stretch.
They're starting off 4-0.
Yeah, they're starting off 4-0, but then they're going to lose. They might lose 3 in a row, 4 in a row. Oklahoma
is going to be a coin toss, and it's at home, I think. I don't know where it is, actually. Yeah, it's at home.
Yeah.
So, I don't.
Georgia,
I'm going to take the Georgia Bulldogs.
Every time. At Missouri.
That probably, I got to wait and see.
As of today, though, that's a Missouri win.
As of today, I'd probably take Missouri at home.
And then at Kentucky,
I'm going to take Auburn in that one.
Okay. So that puts them there, what, at 5-3?
At least.
They beat Vanderbilt.
Yes.
6-3.
Beat ULM.
7-3.
A&M. I'm going to take A&M, but I have to acknowledge it's probably a toss-up.
Okay.
As of today.
7-4 out Alabama. I'm taking Bama.
I would too, even though we do remember that as bad as they were last year, they won or they lost that game on the last play, and people forget before that they fumbled a punt.
Yeah.
So they did everything to help Alabama win that game. And I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but if he wouldn't have gone brain dead and said, I'm going to rush 2 so the quarterback could just sit there all day and wait for somebody to break open.
You know who their new defense coordinator is?
At Auburn?
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you familiar with DJ Durkin?
Really? See, once Durkin was gone, I washed my hands. Okay, what did I say? I said, okay, they just got worse than last year.
No, DJ was good. He was all right.
No, he really wasn't. So now I'm thinking 6-6. I'm serious. He was one of the most inept defensive coordinators I've ever seen.
Here's my thing. I know that Peyton Thorne played better after he played A&M. I know that. Okay, but I can't get that out of my mind. So what will Auburn be when that A&M game comes, and what will A&M be November 23rd?
We have to say that it's a very good chance that Peyton Thorne will be better. The same way we look at a guy that says, hey, in his second year under a new coach, we'd have guys and we'd say, hey, they'll be better because they've been better coached.
Right.
And in his second year, Peyton Thorne will probably be better. But I do think that the ceiling is very low on Peyton Thorne.
He showed me nothing. Right? And by the way, people are hyping up the spring games. Spring
means nothing.
Nothing. I think Cam Coleman may have had 4 catches, like 90-plus yards. And
so their secondary is awful.
Well, they lost some guys off their secondary, yeah. Absolutely.
They may be a really bad defensive team. In fact, I would bet on it.
So I have
just because of who their defensive coordinator is.
So I had their bust season at 6 wins, which I believe they won last year, 6 games.
Did they get to 6? I
think they got to 6,
but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they got to 6 wins last year. Mac, will you double check 2023 Auburn's record? I'm pretty sure they were 6-6. I might be wrong.
Well, if they were 6-6, then they're probably 6-7.
6-7, right? Just double check that for me. But I have their boom as 8 wins. I don't think they go above 8 wins.
I think their boom would be 9. I would expect them today to lose road games to Georgia, Missouri, and Alabama. Even though I have to admit that I'm kind of not sure what to think of Missouri. I think Mac's got the answer to your question.
They were 6-7.
6-7. Yeah. And then if you'd say the toss-up games are at Oklahoma, no, they're
home against Oklahoma.
They're home against Auburn, Oklahoma, and home against A&M. If they split those, that's 4 losses, right? Based on them losing the games at Georgia. Oh, you said only 2 losses for sure, right? You said
well, I think Missouri was really good last year, of course, but they weren't that great on defense, and they lost some good players on defense as well as their defensive coordinator. I don't know what to expect from Missouri. They got a good quarterback and good receivers. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
That running back that was so good for them, I don't think he's still there. I'd have to go double check that.
And they lost their defensive coordinator.
The defensive coordinator's at LSU.
Yep.
And they had Rake Straw was a corner. He was a pretty high draft choice. They had a couple of guys. So
I don't know if they're top 10 good, but I still think they're a pretty good team.
I think Missouri's going to be more dangerous than good.
Okay. So what about Auburn? Is Auburn more dangerous than good?
I think Auburn's more of a curiosity than good right now. I mean, I don't. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to win some games. They're going to win the games they're supposed to win, and I think they'll lose the games they're supposed to lose, and they may split the toss-up game.
Hugh Freeze was on Feinbaum not long ago. He goes, I think we did really well in the 24 recruiting cycle. We had 18 of those guys on campus in spring ball. I'm really excited about their future. Now, how quickly can it translate this, at least as a freshman? I don't know. We'll see. But I know that we've made ourselves better. So they won 6 games last year. Anything above that is better, right? I don't see them winning more than 8 games. And I know there's people that look at A&M and say the exact same thing. And I get it.
The biggest difference to me is that I think A&M projects to be really good on defense, and I would take Connor Wigman over Peyton Thorne 365 days of the year.
Connor Wigman at his best, okay? And he's been really good in his 8 games, right? At his best. How many quarterbacks in the SEC would you take above him?
Right now, probably 4.
Yeah.
Right now, probably 4.
So top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the SEC. Yeah. At his best. I
think so. Well, at his best, he could be number 1. He really could at his best. But we're going to have to judge on what we've seen them do and, how they performed when they played. And I would say that I'd probably put him around 5th.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break here. When we come back, we'll get to some text messages and some final thoughts here as we close out the Go Hour. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Right now, we're talking about the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. That's the studio's name, right? The Rollo Insurance Studio. That's our good friends there at Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so you can accomplish your insurance goals. So when you are looking to shop around for insurance, you're realizing, man, these rates are ridiculous. Let Rollo take care of it for you. There's good people that work there. All of them are fantastic. And the beauty about Rollo Insurance, they're right here in the Brazos Valley. They're in College Station. You can find their headquarters there right there on Highway 6 in College Station. They're awesome. You run into Jason or Jackson or any of the crew out there, they're going to talk to you. They're huge supporters of A&M athletics, but they really just want to make sure that you're in the right insurance situation, whatever it may be. Aging parents, you've got kids about to start driving, you've got a kid who had an accident, whatever it may be, let Rollo Insurance find the right situation for you. The phone number is 888-44-ROLLO, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. That is rolloinsurance.com.
So, like, that's the thing. Like,
hey there, it's TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Randy at the association says the fish drill team won it too. So I mean, I'm kind of getting bored with winning all these championships. Like, it's just too. I'm kidding. More.
Wait. Isn't that the same thing as the bass guys?
Fish drill. Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, sorry.
So if it's if it involves fish, we're winning it.
We're the fish champions.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was a fish championship and a bass championship.
We dominate fish.
I love fish too. I love it.
I know you do.
Yeah, I'm a fish
like
guy.
old Chilean sea bass.
But you make fun of me because you think I get just bare chicken breast and broccoli everywhere I go. And I do.
You might mix in some fish here and there.
You've seen me eat macaroni.
I have.
You've seen me eat rib tips.
I have.
You've seen me eat fried chicken.
I guess I did see you eat some wings because you're.
I love buffalo wings.
You ordered broccoli with the buffalo wings.
That's right.
That's the craziest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, it was good though. Like you got to pick your battles sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
So you've eaten something besides fish or baked chicken 3 times since.
No.
You had a steak too, so 4 times.
We've gone out to eat at least 40 times.
At least.
Okay. You think
and at
only
least 36 times you've had baked chicken.
No. I've had pork chops in front of you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our place down on Texas Avenue.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
See?
true.
I have it all.
Okay.
I'll eat everything. I just sometimes decide to do without certain things on that particular meal.
Well, maybe they can bring you some fish. All this fish they've been catching.
I'm going to go start catching some fish. Me and Steve Naegeli, we're going to go fishing.
You need to go with Kyle Naegeli.
That's true. He can
the
teach
fish
me a
whisperer.
thing. Mac, you have any text messages for us there at the Angry Elephant?
Do you fish, Mac?
No.
Oh, okay.
What do you do outside of being a dominant soccer player?
I cook. So
you cook fish?
Salmon.
That would qualify as a fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I cook. I hang out with my friends. Do a little movie watching. I've been watching a series, The Gentleman, on Netflix.
Tell me about it. Is it based on the movie with Matthew McConaughey, or is it different?
It's different.
Okay. Same premise or no? Completely different.
Completely different.
All right, tell me about it.
Pretty good series.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to tell you about this message though.
Oh,
okay.
She just told me. She's like,
getting
Nuño,
right back.
shut up.
Let's get this show
All right.
back on the road.
I'm a soccer player. I follow an order. Sorry, go ahead.
The mindset and hard work and confidence of we believe that took for our A&M women's tennis team to win the national championship should now be ingrained into our other sports teams, men's, women's. That yes, they too can also win national championships here at Texas A&M from Jim and Temple.
I believe that's a bona fide thing.
You know what I think is also a thing? All these other coaches like, I can't let Weaver be the only one win a championship. I've got to match that. I've got to beat that. There's got to be a competition feeling. Like you're rooting for them 100%.
I think winning just begets winning. I really believe that. I've said it before. Baylor, they won a women's national championship of basketball like in the
2004-ish?
Whenever. And then not long after that, they started winning everything.
Yeah.
Well, they might have been doing some interesting things to get there, but they still started winning just about everything. So we got women's tennis, we got fishing, we got meat judging. We may have
Why do you smile when you say
some
that?
coffee.
There's a smile when you say
I like meat. In fact, I ate a whole bunch of meat at the Troubadour Fest.
Yeah.
All that barbecue. Loved it. Fatter than I was. And that's saying something.
Can we clip that, please? The earlier part. You know what part I'm talking about. I want that on social media immediately. OB, great hour. Thank you, buddy.
You bet. I do. I do like meat.
When we come back on TexAgs Radio.
Medium rare.
Why'd you do that with your hands?
Because the steak about the...
Don't show that on camera. All right, when we come back on TexAgs Radio, Jim Schlossnagle, recorded, but real live. Like real new, but recorded.
I bet he likes meat too.
We'll see you in a bit.
I'm a carnivore.
Little Ryan Bingham for you, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. So let's talk some baseball. Jim Schlossnagle last night came by the studio. Ronnie joined me. So we're going to do that interview as we set things up for the SEC tournament. Really powerful stuff in this interview. And then after that, Bronny and I break it down because Bronny's traveling with the team there to Hoover. So here's part one of the two parts that we recorded yesterday. Here's part one with Jim Schlossnagle. So about a great weekend in Aggie baseball. Jim Schlossnagle here in studio with us. Schloss, thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thanks for being here, and thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about the weekend itself. Successful weekend, caliber of opponent too, and especially with the way the last couple of weeks had gone. Just your thoughts overall.
Yeah, I thought it was a great weekend for the program. First of all, just the crowds, the rain. That stunk to have to deal with that the first night, but I felt like for that weekend, for that night, for it to be a Thursday night, and for people to still show up, and certainly they were very much a part of the game, especially towards the end when we had the bases loaded and McIntyre was out there with throwing to Burton. So it was an awesome weekend. I really feel really good about how we pitched for the most part the entire weekend. Thought two out 3-run homers. One of them won the game, and then really the third game, I thought Sadeo, after the first inning, he was pretty soggy. I mean, we knew that his stuff was gone backwards, and I was just trying to nurse him through maybe one more inning, and he got to 2 strikes on Aloy and left the changeup up, and that was the only one he threw up the whole day. And so I think this rest will be good for Shane, but obviously he didn't recover great from his first start.
Well, how pleased were you with the progression of the offense throughout the course of the weekend? When you look at facing Hagen Smith, it's kind of like when you're evaluating how you did against Paul Skeens, like there's not much you're going to take from it, right? But Friday, you score early, hit a little late, and then yesterday that looked more like the Georgia, Vandy, Auburn series guy lineup where he's just relentless. So I'm guessing that playing in that front of the home crowd, it's warm, I'll take that lineup against anybody in those conditions.
Yeah. I mean, you also saw the back third probably of Arkansas's pitching staff, which is still good, but it's more back to earth and human like everybody else in the league. Whereas the front part of their pitching is significantly better. I mean, they're going into the weekend. I think they were a full run better than the second place team in ERA. So yeah. The thing I was happy about with the first game is that, as I told the team or told the pitching staff on Wednesday at practice, is the way you beat a good pitcher is you got to pitch with him, and then you got to beat the other guys, right? And that's the teams that would compete with Skeens last year or beat LSU on a day Skeens pitches, they would pitch with him, and then whoever they would bring in would be still good, but they're going to be less than those guys, right? So we pitched with them. Ashenbeck pitched great, and then we got the 1 run, and then, but yeah, the first half of the middle game, we had chances we had first and second, nobody out, and Appel up, and we didn't score anymore. And then the back half of the game, you can give credit to them or whatever you want to say. We were facing great pitchers, but so going into the third game, we had scored 4 runs in 20 innings and had won a game. And they had scored 6 runs in 20 innings, 3 of them on one swing, and they had won a game. So pretty evenly matched, I guess you would say. But yeah, I mean, our lineup has depth to it, but it can be pitched to, just like anybody else. And a pitcher executing pitches is going to beat any lineup. There's just, when we're healthy, there's more guys you got to execute pitches to.
You mentioned in one of the post games, I believe it was after game 2, you talked about how pleased you were with the outing of Justin Lampkin and Tanner Jones. Now you're going into a week where you feel like you've got a lot of things wrapped up. So what is it about going to Hoover? Will we see a Tanner Jones outing, back into a starting role, or do you like him coming in for 2 innings and, hey, throw it as hard as you can?
I think we got to look at Jones and Lampkin the same in that, if you remember that one midweek where we threw Lampkin out there, maybe it was Rice or somebody, whoever it was, we just had him throw 2 hitters to try and jumpstart him, and that didn't work out great. Now, he was coming off a shorter start, and we were planning on bringing him back, and it wasn't the same stuff. It wasn't what I had hoped for it to be. And then Lampkin, when I brought him in the game, I actually said to him on the mound, I said, hey, man, you remember when you closed that game for us against Texas Tech in Minute Maid your freshman year? And he was like just blowing 92, 94 fastballs. I said, pitch like that today. And then I walked off the mound. I said, why don't you pitch like that? And he did. Fastball was up to 93, 94. Yeah. The breaking ball had a way more bite to it. And so I'm hoping that jump starts him as a starter. We'll see. With Tanner, I thought he was great. I thought his fastball was down with good velocity. The breaking ball was good. So I'm going to wait and see who we play. We could start Tanner and use that as an opportunity to say, wow, okay, did the bullpen appearance get him going to be a better starting pitcher? I think at worst case we found, oh, wow, there's another right-handed arm down there that at least now he has the experience of throwing strikes. In hindsight, obviously, I would have brought him in instead of getting one more inning out of Stewart. Easy to say that on the back half, but Tanner Jones had never pitched as a relief pitcher for us. So at least now we know that's another really good right-handed bullpen arm. So I would say the first game, we're going to wait and see who we play, and then could be Tanner. We could piece it together with some other guys. But, yeah, I'm hoping we can just get through the weekend and have everybody rested and see where it goes.
I know you got a question for me. I want to go back to that decision to leave Josh in for that 8th inning. You'd think you'd gotten, an inning and a third out of him, and he was cruising. And to me, it looked like if you had Chris up when the inning started, you could have gone to him. But it was like it all happened fast, and it was like, okay,
Cortez?
Yeah, or whoever, whoever the next guy was.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to do it over again, and obviously knowing what I know now, it'd be Tanner to start the inning. But you remember, he made a good pitch, and Stovall, we could never really decide whether we wanted to be in a full shift against Stovall or not because he had enough backside hits. And obviously, if we'd have been a shift, we'd have caught that ball. But it was a ground ball that got through an open infield. And then he had 2 strikes on Aloy and left a breaking ball up, and he hit it in the
That was the biggest swing of that was the series swinging swing.
It was. And the guy that I wish I would have had up was probably Peary.
Okay.
Just second, third, best chance to get a ground ball, completely changed the look. Hudson White doesn't strike out, even though Cortez struck him out. Chris, I prefer to bring in clean. That might have been a good shot to bring him because there was one base open, but I would have only pitched him to one hitter if he'd have walked him.
Okay.
Simply because as much as I love him, he needs space to work. He needs bases to work with, as we saw yesterday. He
walk him loaded and then punch the side?
Yeah, well, walk, hit batter, walk, and it was 2 outs. No, yeah, well, he got 3 outs as he walked the bases, and then the last one was so it's a little scary unless you have a base open somewhere to bring Chris in. Although he's gaining more and more confidence, and maybe I need to try it. But Peary is a guy I don't think he's pitched in a couple weeks, so we need to get him out there.
Monday morning, people are still talking about Ryan Targach and just how cool of a moment it was. Take us through what you're seeing as it's happening, how it all unfolded.
Yeah, so I knew going into the weekend, I wanted to have him active. We've had some weekends where he wasn't. He traveled with us, but he wasn't active because as much as I love him, there's got to be a matchup that works. I like having him active because it's not just the hitting, it's the ability to play multiple positions. If somebody goes down or, just weird stuff happens. Other guys can't play multiple positions. And so anyway, I knew I was going to have him active the last weekend. I was like, I got to have him available to at least get an at-bat in his last home regular season game. And so we were looking forward. I was looking for opportunities to do it throughout the course of the entire weekend. And then that inning unfolded. Like I said publicly, I wish I would have brought him in when Grahovic hit the homer to give him more time to prep. But at the same time, it was actually cooler that it happened. That everybody got to see him come running in, and it happened so fast, and Appel thankfully walked. So I did tell the home plate umpire, I was like, buddy, if you ring up number 12 right here, you will get shot before you walk out of here. So it better surely be a strike. So I was happy for Ryan.
And I think that one of the more captivating moments that I've covered Aggie baseball for going on 9 years now, one of the more captivating, all-time cool moments. And when that happens, and you've been a part of a lot of moments like that in your career, but do you think back to think about how integral he was to your first team here?
Yeah.
And those guys, we talked about it after that season, they'll be legends forever. Him, Austin, Bose, Trevor Warner, like all those guys.
Right.
Like that had to be kind of a full circle deal for you.
It really is. If I start talking about him, I'll get super emotional. But Targo has just been so great. You know, he had an opportunity to sign professionally last year. I think it was. Yeah, last year when he was draft eligible. Wanted to come back to school. Wanted to prove he could be a more consistent player. And, you know, he didn't want that to be his lasting legacy at A&M. And then, you know, it's been a rough go for him for most of the season offensively. But we had a conversation. I said, hey, man, I don't know how much you're going to get to play, you know, down the stretch. And I'm going to look for opportunities. I said to him on that day, it's probably a month and a half ago, I said, hey, man, I still believe there's a cool moment coming for you. And I wasn't thinking of yesterday. I wasn't thinking of what happened this weekend. I was thinking of, and I still am thinking of him get a big hit against the right matchup or something happen to where he plays. And I said, but let me ask you this question: as great as legacy as Clonch number 12 is, or Bose number 12 is, how cool would it be maybe the first national champion number 12, whether you play or not? I mean, that would be really cool, right? So. Maybe that happens for us, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, Targo he's had to swallow his pride and truly be the 12th man. And am I correct in that King Gill he didn't play, right?
No, he didn't play.
He never played.
Right.
And I said, remember, I don't think King Gill played, but he was at the ready. And that's what you can be, you know, and still be a great leader because you're so respected.
I do want to talk about Ali's defense this weekend and overall, and also just I felt like this week was a microcosm of this year. Great pitching, one game where you're just slaying. Just talk about that and the defense that you got.
Yeah, I thought we got great defense. I thought we had good outfield defense in the first game. If we make better pitches, Ali's play up the middle in the inning. That was when did White hit his homer in that inning, or maybe that was Aloy. Anyway, he had a play, that one crazy play up the middle where he ended up in short right center field and threw the guy out. But yeah, I mean, Ali's a great defender. He's put together a good year. He didn't have a great weekend offense. He hit the one big double in the first game. But yeah, I mean, I think we've proven that we're capable of winning games in a variety of ways, which is important in the postseason because we're gonna face, you know, good team. I always say it's either a really good team, a really hot team, or both.
I want to talk about the continued, like, Jace Lavalette has done a couple things in the last 2 weeks that I've been around Jace since he's 9-10 years old. I've never seen him do. And it's back-to-back weeks. So we had a liner over the shortstop's head against Ole Miss, and like he just doesn't hit the ball in that area of the field with a ton of thunder. He hit the home run in Game 3 on a pitch like almost down and out of the strike zone, and then to extend that inning where Targo got the game winner, that's a 2-strike line drive the other way. Like, there's still, like, as good as he is, there's still more coming, and like you can steadily see progressions.
Yeah, and that's a question. It's ironic you said that today. Over the weekend, I asked Mike and I were talking. I was like, "What do you think what is the next progression for Jace?" And we both agreed it's just and Grahovic same is continued control of the strike zone, like the ability to not chase that fastball up or the ball off the plate, whatever it is. And I still believe he can become. He's a good hitter with power. I think he can become a better hitter and have the same power and not. I mean, he's never going to be Jack Moss, right? And Jack Moss is never going to be Jace Lavalette. And when I say that, Jack Moss is hitting, you know, or hitting a backside ground ball. We don't want Jace thinking that, but we just want him to be able to. He's so strong, you know, set his sights to left field, left center field, and then that's where he's lined up because he can get to any fastball, and then the off-speed pitches. Instead of hooking him in dugouts, which I don't like, those are big red flags for me in any hitter when you're hitting balls directly to the pull side. He is able to get back in the at-bat like Dylan Rock and Jack Moss could do, but normally those are massive red flags. So I just think continued progression to be able to use more of the field to hit. I'm not sure if he'll ever be a guy that uses the entire field to hit, and most big power hitters don't. But if he can use now Grahovic does. You know, Grahovic, that's really rare especially for a right-handed hitter. But I think if Jace can just continue to control the strike zone, get more great days ahead.
And sticking with progression, a year from now, where does Caden Sorrell profile in an order whenever he's got another full year of strength and conditioning? Like I think Tom Hart and Kyle Peterson were talking about on the broadcast. Kyle Peterson said I think this kid's a rock star in the making. And we had talking to a lot of people in the stadium. They're going, man, this kid's future is just through the roof.
I mean, yeah, in the batting order, I mean, shoot, I thought about moving him up this weekend. I thought about hitting him 5th in one of the games. But if you had Grahovic back, if you have Lavalette, if you have Sorrell, say Hensler shows up in the draft, I mean, some combination in the first 4.
That's pretty good.
Of that, I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Maybe Schott comes back to school. Maybe Appel comes back to school. We're certainly going to try to recruit those guys, you know. And then you still have, you know, the draft, depending on the freshmen we have coming in, Sanford, you know, Sawyer, Farr, Erickson, those guys are all impact bats. I know I'm missing more of them, and then, you know, I love Jack Bell. Jack Bell is a heck of a player, and so is Jet Johnston. You know, hopefully those guys will stay. But those guys, you know, we're super excited about our young players, whether they believe it or not.
Hey, I want to turn our attention for a moment to Hoover and something you said yesterday in the postgame that caught my attention about winning, but at the appropriate pace. Can you talk a little bit about the game planning, still knowing what's
I'm stealing that phraseology.
What is it?
Winning at the appropriate pace.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, there's no bad pace to winning, but, you know.
Winning's good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we were talking about, like, okay, you know, if Prager throws, when does he throw?
Right.
Well, and then how much does he throw, right? Well, you want him to be rested for the regional, but you want him to be sharp. And if you get a chance to say we win the game on Wednesday, or win or lose, you know, do you go ahead and roll Ryan out there? Probably in the second game, because that would be 1 full week of rest, and then he would have 1 full week plus at least 1 day, maybe 2, depending on when we would use him in a regional. So yeah, he would probably throw Thursday. Would we throw him for 100 pitches? Probably not. Right. You know, get him enough work. So that would be, I guess, what you mean by the appropriate pace. So I thought, we want to win a championship, right? But my first year here, we were in this scenario. We won 2, had a day off, and lost the 3rd game.
The rain killed that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
We had a day off?
The rain was awful, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I think if you win the first 2, as in our
you
spot,
do get a game off.
You get Friday off, and then you play, and then Saturday's not double elimination, just 1 game. And that first year, we didn't have a 4th pitcher, if you remember. Yeah. You know, that was tough. So when we lost to Florida in the 3rd game, we all looked at each other like, this is perfect. Let's go home and get ready for the regional. This team, if we win the first 2, get to the 3rd game and win, and now we're in a championship. Okay, now we have enough pitchers we could piece it together, right? So that would be I guess what you mean, you know, by the appropriate pace. We're going to mix and match it on Wednesday. More than likely throw Ryan a little bit on Thursday, see what happens, and kind of take it from there. But I can promise you this: I don't want to do one single thing to jeopardize a regional.
Well, and I want you talk about piecing things together. So let's talk about the decision to go with an opener and then for it to be Brad Rudis, because I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah.
I got to the ballpark and I see just Lampkin out there long tossing in the corner with Max and Appel. And I'm like, okay, Lampkin's going to start. And then they announced Brad, and that's when I started asking, asked Zane. I was like, what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, he's using an opener. So what went into that decision to go with Brad as the guy? And then can you take the average fan through how that works? Because Brad doesn't need the time to warm up that Justin does.
Yeah, so I had talked to Justin earlier in the day, and we had a conversation on the phone about him starting. And I kind of challenged him a little bit, like, listen, man, if you're going to do this, like, you got to be better than what we've been in the last couple of weeks. So, but all night long, I had been thinking about, I don't know if this is the right thing, because for 2 reasons. One, we just threw Prager and Aschenbeck for 11 innings. And so it was, you know, they're different, but they're somewhat the same. They're both left-handed, fastball change, little breaking ball, one breaking ball better than the other.
88-92.
Yeah, and I'm getting ready to roll out. You know, if I'm the hitting coach for Arkansas, and I say the scouting report is this is just going to be more of what you've already seen, with maybe a little bit less in this area, a little more in this area, whatever. So it's not really a change. It's not making them change at all. And then so that was the first reason why I was thinking about not starting Lampkin. The second reason was we got to the field, we're sitting there hanging out waiting for the game to start, and Florida won. So now we're in. Mm-hmm. We're in the top 4. So that meant a lot. I was like, short of us just losing every game for the next 3 games, we're going to be I really felt good about us being a national seed. If not, then shame on whoever is picking them. And so the conference tournament, I'm like, we're going to have to use an opener at some point in this deal and see what it looks like, or pitch somebody. You're either going to have to start Morton or Moss or one of those guys who, those young pitchers, or you're going to have to start a Peary who has started games at Arizona State. And I was like, well, let's just Rudis. I know Rudis, the way I judge a pitcher is what's my heart rate like when he's pitching, right? When Prager's pitching, slow heartbeat. When Rudis is pitching, slow heartbeat. When Badmiev's pitching, slow heartbeat. Why? They throw strikes.
Yep.
They throw strikes. So I was like, I just want somebody to get this game started that's going to throw strikes. And Brad could be a great opener situation for us to get maybe one time through the order. And I wasn't trying to play reindeer games with Arkansas. I wasn't trying to set them up for anything. We got to the ballpark. We talked about it. We watched the Florida-Georgia game. Florida wins. I was like, we're doing it. Call Arkansas. Tell them. And we just told Lampkin, hey, you're still starting. You're just going to start the second or third inning. So you can prepare however you want to prepare. And Brad's going to just do what he normally does and hop up on the mound, throw 10 pitches, and go out there.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. And if it wouldn't have been for we had a swing and bunt and then the chopper through the 6-hole.
Oh, he was great. I thought
he did great.
Exactly
he did great. And so now at least he has the experience of doing that. And Lampkin has the experience of doing it on the back end. And I thought Lampkin was infinitely better coming out of the bullpen.
So what's the schedule? You head out Monday afternoon and
yeah, we're gonna we head out Monday morning. We're videoing this the day before.
After this,
after this, and then we'll get down there. We're gonna have a super light workout at a high school in Hoover area, and then kind of do the same thing on Tuesday. Guys will get to lay low.
It's the worst game time possible.
The last one?
The last one on Wednesday.
It is, but the weather's, knock on wood, the weather's supposed to be pretty good. They do have the run rule in that deal. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain about finishing in the top 4 of the SEC.
No, I'm just saying.
It is. Yeah, it is. You got to wait a while, but that's okay. Yeah. You get to watch a lot of good baseball and put off the stress of a game until the last possible second, Wednesday night.
Schloss, thank you so much. Good luck.
Yep, thanks. Gig 'em.
All right, Jim Schlossnagle, yesterday we recorded that. When we come back, we'll do our chit-chat with Ryan Brauninger. After that, John Scheschuk, a full hour of baseball here on TexAgs Radio. Right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. So I'm that parent that started driver's ed real late for the boys. They're about to be 16, and we maybe have driven in the neighborhood, which is not. But we're having the conversation about cars, right? And, the first place I'm going to look online is Caldwell. We've already started that, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. That's the place to go when you're in one of these situations where you're looking to buy a vehicle, that first vehicle for your kids, right? Whenever they're of that appropriate age. But whatever the situation may be, if you need to upgrade, if you need a bigger one, you need a smaller one, whatever it may be, let Caldwell Country Chevrolet talk you through the process and find you the right vehicle for you, because of all the things I've told you about for a long time. The great selection, the great customer service, the great pricing, and the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. That's a fact. When you go there, you're going to get it done the right way. They have complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. It is a top-notch place to go when you're looking for a vehicle for your family. It is about a 15-minute drive, Brana Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. More baseball. Appreciate all the love on the YouTube page. Continue commenting. I saw your question about Carson Branstein. We'll go over that here maybe around 9:50 or so. But let's do this. Let's go to the chit-chat with Ryan Brauninger. We always try to do a debrief after our conversation with Coach Schlossnagle. Here's Bronny and I yesterday late afternoon. Continuing a little baseball here with Ryan Brauninger as before they head out. You're heading out to the SEC tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to be on the radio call with Mr. Monaco. And one thing I love about Hoover, and I've said this a lot, and Omaha is incredibly awesome. Like, it's the pinnacle of college baseball. You grow up as a kid, and a lot of kids will dream about playing in the major leagues, but now even more so because of how accessible college baseball has become. There's so many more kids dreaming of Omaha.
Right.
And it's just because college baseball is ahead of professional baseball in the progression. I think every kid, across the state of Texas or in the South, they dream about Omaha. So Omaha is the pinnacle, and it's so much fun to go to. That said, Hoover is a blast, and it is one of the best people-watching places on the planet. So if you're thinking about making the trip, with A&M having the double bye, and I know they don't have a ton to play for. I mean, Coach Schlossnagle said win at a certain pace. He's very much right. Like, you're not going to jeopardize anything in Hoover for the following week. And there's a lot of – it's funny because there's a clear line of delineation with who needs stuff going into Hoover. We can talk about that in a minute. But if you're thinking about going, I would go. You get to see how every team's fan base interacts with them. They do every walk-up song for every player, so you kind of get a Alex Box or a Baum Walker or a Duty Noble feel, when those teams are playing. It's a really cool event. And the stadium, it's very quaint. Like, it looks big on TV, but it's kind of very tight. Everything's together. So it's a lot of fun. It gets loud in there when I went a couple years ago and LSU and Tennessee played, and that was that great Tennessee team. And so the place was just jam-packed, and they had rain. And so the Cajuns had been in the parking lot all day drinking and tailgate. It was rowdy. Like, it was a lot of fun to be in those atmospheres. So if that's something that you should put that on your, especially if you're a college baseball fan, but if you're a college sports fan, I'd put the SEC tournament on your bucket list.
All right, so here they are. They will play at home or at a neutral site the rest of the way. This team at home is fantastic. They've been pretty good neutral sites as well. And then I felt like this past weekend, Ronnie, like this was the A&M team that we had seen most of the season, right?
What makes a team great, and regardless of sport, they can play any game you want, right? Mm-hmm. And they can beat you in any game you want. And Hagen Smith stole the show for a lot of people on Thursday night. We talked about it on the baseball bunch last week. It was insane to watch somebody do that, just a physical specimen. But lost in all that is the job that Ryan Prager did and what Ryan Prager has done. Like, I believe that Hagen Smith will be the SEC Pitcher of the Year. Now, I don't know if that means he also gets a first-team all-conference selection, but he might. And they do 3 starting pitchers. I think Ryan Prager is going to be a first-team all-SEC selection. He's certainly pitched like one the entire year. So I think getting lost in all that is the job that Prager did. And then you have them ball to Evan Aschenbeck, and it's just, again, I don't think he's underappreciated anymore. I think everybody's starting to realize how great this guy's been. And then on the middle game, to me, it came down to one at bat. And it was an elevated slider to Vahiva Aloy that Josh Stewart probably wishes he could have back, that he hooked in the corner for a double. And then once it got to second and third, nobody out that late in the game, Arkansas was going to score. Now, they just happened to have the 3-run homer after that, but I thought the double, the hitter before by Aloy, was the swing. And then Saturday was like the epitome of what this team has done, right? Like, Shane Sadeo wasn't bad. He made one mistake. And A&M had homer in the first, homer in the second. Like, I made a post on the board about it. We saw all the stuff in Game 3, right?
Yep.
Gavin homers, Jace homers, Braden homers. Ali makes silly plays defensively. Caden Sorrell just continues to be a rocket ship arrow pointing up, right? Hayden Schott gets hits. Hayden Schott got hits, 3 of them, right? Teddy Burton, Teddy Two Bags, lives up to his name and puts the nail into the coffin to win the series. Like, that bases clearing double was awesome. It was a great piece of hitting. So we saw all the stuff. Chris Cortez, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, Bugs Bunny sliders, all the stuff that we've seen from this team all year that has made them so much fun to cover, and Olsen such an electric venue this year. And then Ryan Targac topped them all. Like, that game 3, that afternoon at Bluebell Park will go down for a lot of people as like, man, remember that 2024 team? Remember that last game of the regular season and how it was 1,000 degrees in Olsen. You were there. It was hot. But nobody left. And then Targac got to have that moment in front of the 12th man. And, like, I don't know. There were people around me that were openly shedding tears. That was just an incredible all-time moment. And like Coach Schloss said, it couldn't happen to a better kid. So, yeah, you talked about the series as a whole. You know, what for a team that had been struggling for 2 weeks in a row, not only do you win the series against a number 3 team in like the most highly anticipated series of the season and one of the more highly anticipated regular season series at Olsen in probably the last decade, you won it.
A thumping,
but what at the exclamation mark at the end. Jackson Appel told me after the game, he goes, you know, what happens if we go on this crazy run? Like, what could that have done? You know, you don't know what the future is going to hold. And I'm not sitting here saying that was some kind of landmark program-changing victory or swing by Ryan Targac. But
when we look back,
what if Saturday was them getting going? Like we saw them do against Mississippi State, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. Like when they were on that stretch of games where you're going, holy, we were talking about this. Is this the best Texas A&M team ever in a regular season, regardless of sport? Don't forget, that was the conversation we were having in the middle of all this.
Well, and Bronny, let's not forget, like even when they were playing poorly, those were winnable series for them.
Well, right in games. And I think now that I think that the feeling of the team, the feeling of the locker room, the feeling of the clubhouse is back to normal, you know. But now they can go back and look at those series against LSU and Ole Miss and go, man, like we were in a funk. Like it didn't feel right, and we were right there.
Do you feel Braden is out of his funk?
Duh.
I mean, hello.
Duh. Now, you know, right-handed, people are going to they're going to match him up now. Late in games, they're going to make their decision on a starter, and they'll probably stick with a starter. But if they get in late in game situations, they're going to force Braden to hit right-handed.
Yeah.
He's just making some bad swing decisions right-handed right now. We've seen him hit plenty of homers right-handed. Against Alabama, he hit a ball right-handed that was a fastball in off the plate. He hit it out to center field. So, like, obviously plenty of talent right-handed, but he needs to make better swing decisions right-handed. So I'm sure that's something like how great would it be for him to go to Hoover and face a bunch of lefties, whether he gets hits off of them or not.
Right.
Let's kind of reset his sights and get those opportunities.
So the attention now turns to Hoover. Hopefully, I want it to be a long stay, but I don't. From a fan's perspective, I want them to win the SEC.
It's a balancing act, right? I mean, last year they went to Hoover needing to win games. I think they were probably in because they were 14-16. They just won that series at Mississippi State. And then they go on a run to the final. And once you're there, you're going, man, in year one under Schloss, you had an SEC West Division trophy. In year two, where you really underperformed from preseason expectations, you were playing for an SEC tournament trophy. This year, I mean, you didn't win the West. You were you finished second in the West, but you may lock up. I mean, depending on what happens in Hoover, like if A&M goes 2-1 and Kentucky and Tennessee go 0-2 or 1-2, excuse me. I mean, you could be looking at the number one overall seed. Now, does that mean anything? No, and it's typically not been a great thing. I don't think that there's any kind of number one seed curse, but you could set yourself up for that. But there's no trophy right now. You know, there's not a trophy, and a regional championship I think you count as a trophy. A division championship you count as a trophy. Regular season, tournament, you said regional, super regional, like those are all trophies. But there's one ultimate one at the end, and if you sat there and watched that series this weekend and you didn't, and I get it, a lot of people are so emotionally tied to the result and winning the series that sometimes you don't get the chance to step back and just go, look what we're watching.
Right.
I mean, those were two really good baseball teams playing. And if it's A&M and Arkansas playing for the big title in Omaha, would that surprise you?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. And I'm telling you what, Arkansas with that pitching staff, I don't care. And their fan base apparently thinks they can't hit it all. I think
they hit some home runs this
weekend. I
weekend.
think their middle of their order is very good. It's Peyton Stovall, Vahiva Aloy, Hudson White. I thought Ben McLaughlin had really good at bats. Now, there are some guys that are struggling, and you can make some hay against their lineup. But in the middle part, where they're swinging it right now, and how many runs do they need to score in a regional and a super to win a game?
At one point, they were matching A&M home run for home run until the explosion there in the sixth. But
they don't have the offensive talent that A&M does. No, but A&M doesn't have the pitching depth that they do. And like you saw it on full display is what after Hagen Smith comes out of the game, what else were they rolling out there? Every guy was 97 to 100 miles an hour. And so like they could get to Omaha very easily without scoring many runs. And the reason why is you're going to go. If they win their regional, it's almost you're gonna be down. If you're facing Arkansas in a super, you're gonna be down 0-1. You're gonna have to win 2 in a row. Because they don't lose when Hagen Smith pitches. And A&M won that game. It was the first time all year, but it was 12 or 11 innings, nothing to nothing.
Right.
So good luck. I mean, you're gonna have to beat Arkansas in game 2 and game 3 to knock them out before they get to Omaha. I think it's just a really well-rounded club, and they are the standard in the division. They've won the SEC West 5 out of 6 years. The 1 year was A&M. And you just kind of look at what Dave Van Horn has done, the longevity, the program building, how they obviously have great high school players and they supplement with the portal. You know, Arkansas and Florida, I think, are the examples in the league of that. LSU too, but LSU has done it, a lot through the portal lately. I think Arkansas and models of consistency, Arkansas and Florida are those teams. And then also, I mean, that's what A&M's trying to build here is something like Baum Walker Stadium, where a kid that's a highly recruited player doesn't walk into Fayetteville and go, man, these facilities are way, way nicer than what A&M's got. Like, that's where the Aggies are behind the 8 ball in this league is just player amenities, player facilities, and then the venue that they play in. Not the atmosphere at all. I'm just talking about the physical structure. Right. And you can say it doesn't matter. I can promise you that it does when you're recruiting high-level baseball kids right now.
Thank you, Bronny.
Thank you.
All right, way off the clock. So sorry, Ryan Broadcasting. We'll try to get back on it. Milliken Reserve Time, farm-to-table community in College Station. Homes, trails, wide open spaces. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature, and they've done that by dedicating lightly to that beautiful community that's there and to that awesome landscape and wildlife. 2,600 acres of open space. They've got 30 miles of trails, and they've got homes. It's a place to connect with families and for families to connect with nature. That's what you do when you go to Milliken Reserve. You just connect with the beautiful area out there with a network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that has walking and equestrian paths, creeks, ponds, gathering areas. It is a place for family to cherish generation after generation, and they're committed to maintaining and restoring that beautiful natural habitat where you find all the variety of native species out there that find their homes out there, the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles. And homeowners at Milliken Reserve sharing a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. Go out there to go hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, fishing, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmer markets, and farm tours. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. So John Scheschuk's joining us. Let that music play for a little bit because you don't understand the hula hoops we had to run through to get to this song, John. I know you've requested it for weeks, right? We can't find a clean version on Spotify. We had to go deep into the YouTube page to find it. But there was a listening session earlier, but we found your jam, Fat Pat's Best.
Hey, man, you got it done. We've been calling for it. That goes back to 99. Cordell Lindsay introduced that song to our team in 99, and he said Fat Pat wins titles. And we had a bunch of Houston guys on that squad. And I know you've got your swim through Houston as well. So that should resonate with you, man. Fat Pat wins titles. It was true in 99, and it's true today in 2024. So there you go. Good work.
It is true. And I don't know if you saw, women's tennis won a national championship. Women's golf's got a chance.
Congratulations.
We've got fish drills. Everybody's winning national championships. We're title town, baby.
Hey, here comes A&M baseball too. It's time, and I'm excited to see that happen. So, but seriously, congrats to the women's team. That's unbelievable.
So what are some takeaways from what you saw this weekend against Arkansas? I mean, a series that A&M kind of showed who they are. They can pitch with the best. They can absolutely mash with the best.
Yeah, for me, the win on Thursday was incredible. Hagen Smith is the best pitcher in college baseball. I mean, he's this year's version of Paul Skeens. And for Ryan Brauninger to do what he did in that game, and then, of course, Evan comes in and puts the stop down. But that was an impressive win. And then, the storyline was Targac. You guys have talked about that a lot already, but that was the emotional side of the weekend for sure. But all in all, you hit it on the head. I mean, they did a great job offensively. Their pitching was really solid throughout the weekend, and they were able to get a series win against a very tough opponent. So congratulations to Coach Schloss and that team.
I was going to say the caliber of opponent you're taking on, right? A team that is in the top 5, a team that pitches the best staff maybe in the country. To do that after the last couple of weekends, right before you go to the conference tournament in Hoover, to me, I feel like that just kind of sets you back to where you were.
Yeah, and it speaks to the professionalism of the team. Again, I know these are amateur athletes, but they are consistent, and they've taken on that approach since day one. I mean, you've heard Coach Schloss talk a lot about today is opening day. And you see that on display with this team. They're able to bounce back and beat a really good opponent. By the way, I was doing the call with JB and Andrew Monaco this weekend, and I did not know that Arkansas had won 5 of 6 SEC West titles. That is an impressive model of consistency. So that speaks to the opponent and what you said earlier, that they've just been good for a long time, and you knew they were going to give you their best.
Let's talk about Ryan Targac and just how cool of a moment it was to be a fan, to be a dad, to be just a former player, like all the things that you can imagine, like all the emotions all wrapped up in one moment.
Well, it resonates for me, and JB and I talked about this on the call. I was a 4-year player here, and I understand what that commitment looks like. And I understand the ebbs and flows of what a 4-year career looks like. It's not easy. There are times where you want to leave. There are times where you're frustrated with the coach. There are times where you're frustrated with your teammates. There are times where your teammates are frustrated with you. And so it goes deeper for me just on a personal level because I understand the sacrifice that Ryan has made. And then when I look at him specifically, his career has just kind of been backwards in a way with the production early on and then sort of slipping out of that as he got into his junior year with the injury and then his senior year. Just hasn't produced at that level, and he has been given some opportunities. So for me, wrapping all that together and seeing him handle that moment the way he did, seeing this fan base do what they did, it was very special, and it was emotional for me. And I don't know Ryan well. I mean, we've spoken a few times, but we're not friends or we're not on that level in any regard. But I was just very proud of him for coming through in that moment. And the hit was secondary. That was the storybook ending. But just the way he battled up there and finished his career in the regular season was awesome. Very special moment.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The fact that they got the big 3 to respond, right? You've got home runs from the top of the lineup, from Gavin through Jace to Braden, who had been in a bit of a funk, also getting a couple homers this weekend. That also bodes well for what's coming ahead.
Yeah, and look, I hate to say this, but maybe those series losses were not only good for the team, but maybe they also came at the correct time. If you think back to the beginning of the year, they lose 2 to 3 to Florida, but that's so early in the year, you don't even have really your sea legs under you on what you got as a team at that point. And I think if that happens a little bit earlier in the year, it doesn't give you as much of a momentum shift as it did because it happened late in the year. So I think the timing on that too was good. And I think the bounce back, as you mentioned, this weekend was even better. So you have the losses late in the year, you have a top opponent coming in, and you're able to bounce back and get that going. It's incredible. And to your point, the top three guys really did a great job this weekend, and they've done that all year long. So that was good to see.
I'm going to read this text that Richard Zane sent me during the Schloss interview. Ryan Prager's 8 starts at home. Listen to these numbers. 6-0, 49 pitches, 31 hits, 7 runs, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, 67 strikeouts with an ERA of .92.
Yeah, and he went toe-to-toe with Hagen Smith, which to me was so impressive because, look, we've all been on the golf course and we've played with somebody better than us, or we've all been on a sports team where somebody just has more talent than us. And that's a really tough thing to overcome from a mental perspective. I don't care what sport it is. And in this case, you've got Hagen Smith, who is just an absolute stud. I mean, Schloss talked about him potentially getting a call-up late this year in MLB, which very well could happen. And you got Ryan Prager, who, hey, look, let's not shortcut him. His stuff's good. You know, he's 89 to 91. He's got a sharp breaking pitch. He really is a great competitor. So he's got good stuff, but it's not on that Hagen Smith level. And that's not a knock on Prager. It's nobody's on Hagen Smith's level. So for me, to watch him come into that game against that heavyweight and to hold his own was just awesome. And as you just mentioned on the stat side, he's been that way for the Aggies all year. He's been a true number one, and that's been a lot of fun for us to watch. And when you watch his interviews too, David, he's so calm and just such a pro in how he speaks to the media and how he handles his business on the field. So really great to see for him.
Last thing for you, because we got to hit a break, 20 seconds or so. This is a win-win situation for A&M, right? Go win the tournament, great. If you don't, rest up. Let's start what really matters.
You hit it on the head. They're going to get lined up for the regional, and they have the luxury of being in a very good position. So they're all set. It's going to be exciting to watch. So I can't wait for Wednesday to get here.
Talk to you soon, brother. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good day, man.
See you, man. All right, we had to go short there because of our great interview with Schloss to start off the hour. We'll get back on the clock next. It's TexAgs Radio. All right, we're going to do this fastest ever Around Aggieland presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. The website, normangstatebank.com. Kay Naegeli, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Are we
going? Why are we whispering?
Are we getting started? Are we going?
We've got 1 minute, and then we'll continue on the other side.
Okay, well, let's start it off. Got to start off. National champions, Mark Weaver, women's tennis, absolutely incredible. Shout out to that program. They have been nothing but dominant the past 3 seasons with 3 SEC crowns, and they secured a national championship last night, defeating UGA 4-1. They just a little note: the A&M was 5-5 to begin the regular season, went 12-1 throughout conference, absolutely dominated through conference play, and then ultimately took down a conference opponent to secure the title last night. So, and they will also get going with individual play this weekend. So best of luck there, and I will see you on the other side.
Thank you, KK. All right, when we come back, more with Kay. Billy Liucci will be in studio. We'll talk national championships. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk softball. We'll talk it all. And your text messages at 979-693-1150. It's TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We are continuing, Around Aggieland, presented by Normandy State Bank. Kay Naegeli still at the Angry Elephant Youth and Social Center. As we wait for Billy, I know you got a couple other tidbits to get into.
I do indeed. So we have talked quite a bit about softball, baseball, and women's golf, but just to dive into it a little more, Friday night, Texas A&M women's softball played Albany, won that, but Trisha Ford was not as happy as you would have wanted her to be after that performance. And then Saturday, Texas State, Emily
1-0.
Kennedy. You talk about a pitcher's duel at Bluebell Park. That was a pitcher's duel at Davis Diamond. Emily Kennedy and Jessica Mullins, two of the best pitchers in the nation, probably All-Americans, win at it. It was 1-0, just like the game at Bluebell Park. And the only run came from a sacrifice fly in the first inning. Emily Kennedy was absolutely dominant this weekend, just 12 innings of shutout ball over the weekend, all against Texas State, only allowed 5 hits and 2 walks when she had none on Sunday in their win over the Bobcats. All in all, an incredible weekend, and will set up a pretty exciting super regional as the Aggies will head to Austin this weekend. They will begin play Friday at 5 p.m. In Austin, so that should be an interesting one.
Rumor has it an up-and-coming star from TexAgs will be covering that.
Up-and-coming star? Yeah, I like that. I saw a YouTube chat that said I'm on the bench, or I'm good depth for the program.
You are a good depth for the program.
I'm a good 6th man.
Full-time Kay Naegeli.
Full-time Kay Naegeli. Here, Nick.
Can we get a shirt that says that?
He has been obsessed with that phrase ever since, Thursday? Hasn't even been a week. Anyways, but yeah, the Aggies will play the Longhorns on Friday, 5 p.m. on ESPN2, so nationally broadcasted game. We are all looking forward to that one, as well as Saturday at 4 p.m. So turn those TVs on. If not, head out to Austin, support some Aggie softball. On the other side of the diamond, baseball also had an electric weekend against Arkansas. Thursday night, as we know, Ryan Brauninger, Hagen Smith dueled it out in an electric 1-0 pitchers duel. Friday did not go the Ags' way, as Arkansas did claim the West, but they got them back on Sunday. And Targac just had an all-time cool moment in Aggie lore. I think we will all remember that for a long time. I know John Scheschuk just said a lot of really cool words about that. So congrats to Ryan Targac, and he's just battled through so much this year and throughout this season. It's just so cool to see. And then continuing on, A&M will play the winner of Mississippi State and Ole Miss on Wednesday around 4:30 p.m. They have that later game, so it may get moved back depending on how things go beforehand, but that will also be on SEC Network, and they will continue to play if they keep winning. On the track front, the Aggies hit the road as they travel to Fayetteville, Arkansas for the NCAA West preliminary round. That begins on Wednesday and will go through the weekend, so best of luck to Pat Henry and co. And then also women's golf, another national championship may be coming soon. Adela Sarusik fired her third consecutive 4-under 68 on Sunday and widened her individual lead to 6 strokes by the end of round 3. The Aggies are in first after 54 holes at 10 under heading into today. Stanford is just 1 stroke behind, but A&M will tee off at 2:20 today. It will not be live or not be streamed until 5 p.m. So maybe you can catch the end of it on the Golf Channel. That will be streamed 5 to 9 p.m. Monday through Wednesday if you are following along there. If not, you can follow along on golfstat.com. So pretty electric weekend all around, and I am excited to see what is to come for all these Aggie sports.
Awesome stuff there. I appreciate you, Kay. Very good stuff. All right, Billy is in the building. He'll be in studio here momentarily. If you have any questions for Billy, you can do that at 979-693-1150. We will talk women's tennis with him. We'll talk women's golf with him. We'll talk Aggie baseball, Aggie softball, and I've got a football topic to get into with him as well. So if you want to chime in, 979-693-1150. And I didn't get to go to the Troubadour Festival, but I know OB went, and I'm pretty sure this guy to my left went on Saturday. Hey, buddy.
Hi, David.
What's wrong?
Well, I mean, look.
Oh, yeah, there's some
coffee all over
situation.
my pants. What's going on?
Happy Dad. Tell me more about this hat.
I don't really care to. It is funny, though.
I like it.
It's like a seltzer. It's funny though. It's typical. You wouldn't know that. It's like the Nelk Boys.
I know the Nelk Boys.
Well, you don't. If you didn't know that, but
I don't like think their
well,
show's
you don't
great.
have to.
But
You don't have to. You don't have to. I don't I like their stuff on. I catch it on Reels all the time, Instagram and stuff. But funny thing about this hat, I got it. I think I got it at just some after party at the ACM Awards the other night.
Okay.
They were just merch, which we don't know anything about here at TexAgs.
Oh, just wait, buddy.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Look at this. What is this? What are these people doing?
Hey.
I'm just
How are
waving
you?
now. I'm not being rude. I was at the baseball game the other day thinking about that. And like how many people, how many Aggies, how many listeners, how many subscribers would love just a simple TexAgs hat, but a good one. Not too busy, just TexAgs
like
or
that.
the logo. Yeah, just something simple. And how many people would love to have that?
A lot.
Okay, how many can get that?
Do we have a hat?
Hell, I
at
can't
CC
even get it.
Creations? I don't think we have a hat. No.
So anyway, and yeah, oh, by the way, we're tight with the folks over at CC Creation. So I think TexAgs is one of the biggest things we're missing is merch. And for some reason, nobody will listen to me because
No, we're
I
listening.
think sometimes when you
There
have
was a
good
meeting.
ideas, people act like, well, yeah, if they're listening now, it's 2024. I've been saying that since about 2014. But who am I? besides
There is
the
a
owner?
concept of something coming out soon that I think you're going to like.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I think you're going to like
and then second, this hat. So what's funny is I did go to Troubadour Fest. It was a blast. Second year in a row. I've just loved it. Mom, family members went out there, friends, everybody ate the barbecue. Went to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome day. I know we're going to talk about that. And then went back to Troubadour Fest for the concerts. Got out there, had a great time. Was sitting down there with Slosh, walked off, looked back, he's on stage, playing the guitar. First, somebody said he's on the keyboard, and I couldn't see back there. I go, he's on the keyboard. And then I looked where he was gone. Keyboard, guitar. He's been good friends with Pat Green for a long time. That's why Pat was at the game. So that was awesome to see. I know Callie got the best video of it.
That was cool.
But I look up and he's coming out on stage. It reminded me, not for the same reasons, but when I was in Austin one fateful night and upstairs at a rooftop bar. It was about this time of year because Kaylee Hartung was doing Texas, I believe Arizona State maybe, super regional the next day.
Yep.
So she had to go home early, was working for the Longhorn Network back then. Shout out Kaylee. We saw her Thursday night at the ACMs as well. She had a Happy Dad hat too. We got our little own ones. So she goes, take her downstairs. She goes, you better go check on your guy who's, Johnny. She goes, I don't know. I was like, oh, he's fine. That's like, by his standards, it's not much. I go upstairs. He's soaking wet, head to toe, jeans, whatever, just soaking wet. I knew he jumped in the pool.
Yeah.
I go, you didn't do that, did you? He goes, yeah. What? And I go, what'd you do? And he pointed at the swan. There's a swan floating in the middle of the pool. And I go, oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, I go, a lot of pictures. He goes, no. He goes, probably a lot of video. I go, oh, my God. He goes, well, I had the bottle in one hand, and I was pedaling, so I just kind of kept going in circles. Couldn't get out. I was like, I was gone for 20 seconds and came back. For different reasons. Johnny, it had to do with that bottle of Dom.
Sure.
Slosh, it had to do with he loves his dang country music, and he loves his Texas country, and he loves him some Pat Green, and he just got caught up, and they were like, come on up. And it was awesome.
That is great.
It was cool seeing him have that much fun and try to get Pat Green to get a little yell practice going up there. So fun time there. Then so decided to keep the fun going. And this hat, I had a couple people come up to me, girls, hey, can I get a picture? And I, thought maybe it did TexAgs. And sure. And they're like, they start talking, and I realize, they go, thanks so much for coming to College Station. We hope you're having a great time. And then they asked me about one of the other people from the Nelk Boys, and I'm like, oh, it's the stupid hat. It's the hat.
They thought you were Team Nelk.
Yeah, so they're like, thanks for coming to town. And I'm over here going, yeah, sure, TexAgs, gig them, take a picture. I go, yeah, appreciate you coming to College Station. How are you enjoying your stay?
Isn't Bradley Martin sometimes part of the
he's
Boys?
he's in this podcast. Yeah, you probably like him because he
I don't, because he
works
thinks
out.
Well, I do like that part of him, but he thinks he can fight MMA guys.
We have 1 hour here. We could go into this road.
Look, can we talk women's championship?
Because that guy
women's
would
tennis?
throttle you.
He would throttle both of us at the same
Well,
time.
I don't pretend to be an MMA fighter.
I don't pretend to be either.
It's like if I pretend to be a soccer player.
I don't pretend to be one either. I don't want to. I can't. I'm not good. Anyway, women's tennis, very good.
Really good. Mark Weaver, really good. That team, really good.
They're gonna be good for a while too.
It was so good. It was so fun to watch and so rewarding to watch. And by the way, Mark Weaver, an Aggie.
Yeah.
So he led his school to a national title. That it doesn't get any better than that. But I just remember as they're getting better, and was it 2 years ago or 3 where they were in the Final Four, and they lost to, I believe it was Oklahoma, and it had to do with they had to go indoors, and it was like a devastating hit for that particular team because they didn't have an indoor here. They never played indoors. They had to go indoors. I think it was in Illinois. And it was kind of understood that had they been outdoors, they would have throttled or beaten OU because it was down to the wire anyway. Even so, that cost them a chance to play Texas for a national title a couple of years ago. I think it was 2 and not 3. If it was 2, some of these same girls would be. But they have built. There hasn't been a program, and Chadwell and his ladies are second right now when I talk about this, and we're about to see what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
They might both break through. They both, in fact, it was 2 years ago, because they both went to the Final Four the same year, and that was Chadwell's first year. He's been to back-to-back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back Final Fours. This team, this tennis team, has been the dominant program in the SEC. And it's a really tough league of tennis, just like it is in pretty much everything, save maybe volleyball. They've been the dominant regular season SEC tournament type program the last few years. So as far as A&M sports go, women's tennis has been kind of the standard bearer since Weaver's gotten this going, and that core group of girls. And I remember him telling me before the season, there were a couple of recruits and transfers that if he could get them, they could win the whole thing. And he said that we're going to be really good, but if we get these girls, we can win the national title. And he got them. And then I remember him telling me about, Branstein potentially coming. And if that happened, again, he said, we could win the national championship. And those things happened, and he proved prophetic. And I don't know that he'd ever say that in media. I mean, would he come on and say that with you guys, that they could win the whole thing? And he's so modest. He's so humble. Those girls play like they're having so much fun. They seem like such a team. They come in here. They do a great job of representing the program at Texas A&M. So it was awesome to see them win. And I know y'all have talked about it. I always talk about it. There's winning cultures. I don't really give a damn about the Director's Cup, but I want it's kind of like talking out of both sides of my mouth here. I don't really care about winning that and bragging about it because I think that thing is so flawed in some ways with the sports. Other schools, A&M plays like 17 sports. Ohio State plays like 37, competes, and I know there's a cutoff of how many count and stuff. And then there's like, what's the competition like in rowing versus winning one in soccer? It just doesn't seem the same. But I do want to be up there because I just want something to tell me like, hey, Texas A&M is winning a lot of SEC titles. They're advancing deep in postseason in sports besides football. I know football is the front porch of the athletic department, which is also the front porch of the university. I know it's the biggest thing. It's my biggest thing. This is the state of Texas. Football's the biggest and best in Texas. I want to be good at everything. I want to see the A&M athletes succeed. I want to see the coaches succeed. I want to see the fans enjoy their experience. Look, I spent an awesome weekend out at Bluebell Park this weekend. It was a blast. There are plenty of people that also spent an awesome weekend at Davis Diamond, that sat at home Sunday evening like I did and watched that tennis match play out. You get enjoyment from all these sports and whichever ones you want. One of my favorite sports memories this year was the SEC tournament in basketball in Nashville. It was Memphis for those 2 games. So you get it with what you like and what you choose to enjoy. I want us to be good at everything. And it's starting to feel that way. That softball team could give Texas some real problems this week. And Texas is the best team in the country. In year 2, what Trish Ford's done is really impressive. We talk a ton about baseball. That team can win it this year. Women's tennis won it this year. Women's golf can win it this year.
Men's golf.
Men's golf had a strong regional. They've been advancing to the national championships. Corton's had them in match play. Track and field, I guess the men might have a better shot than the women, but both have a shot. And the men have
top 5, yeah.
Men have a real shot with the way the SEC championships went down. So this could be a fun few weeks. And that doesn't even count some of the others. We know how excited we are about Elko and football.
Yep.
Buzz Williams, back-to-back NCAA tournaments. They finally broke that seal and won the game this year. What Jamie Morrison did with volleyball. It has to start somewhere, though, with the championship. And I think there's a culture thing that goes on where I do think there's a standard to go, hey, look, that's the standard we're trying to reach, those girls or those guys. We saw that happen. And I always say I thought like AC Law in some way kind of kicked that off, even though that team didn't win a championship, but he was just such a dog, such a winner, wearing that maroon and white and doing this and just brought something different there. Because then you saw this run, and it was like women's basketball, men's golf won it, track and field, Pat Henry's arrival, they started winning them right and left. So you look down the road in Austin, and they do that. You look at LSU right now, they do that. You look at Florida, kind of when A&M came into the SEC, the Gators were doing that. So I'm all about it, and I do believe it has to start up somewhere. So, and I think maybe it started last night in Stillwater.
Before we hit a break, too, I also think it's somewhat storybook to think about Carson's presence on this team, Brandstein, where she's going to move on to pro, but then she has some injury situations, and then it becomes a possibility that she rejoins this team. She was, if not their best player, their second best player last year.
Yep.
And then right before the postseason, they clear her to play. And then we have the whole drama in Georgia, the whole story with Georgia, the way that whole thing went down there in the SEC tournament where the teams were complaining about the seedings and whatnot.
Yep.
To then losing to Georgia.
Yeah. They lost 3 times, yeah.
And then beating them in the NCAA. And by the way, an SEC, a Final Four with SEC teams where you have to go through Tennessee and Georgia, the team that eliminated you in the SEC tournament. Just a cool storybook to that whole thing.
It was. And you really knew when they beat North Carolina and then Oklahoma State. Tennessee took them down, the undefeated Cowgirls. I like seeing A&M beat Tennessee, the team that knocked off the favorite. Yep. Kind of just legitimizes it that much more. Big time deal up there this weekend, and just a fun, impressive weekend of sports all the way around here in Aggieland.
All right, we'll hit a break. Let's do some baseball on the other side. Right now we're talking Costa Vida, Fresh Mexican Grill. You know, when A&M gets back, the baseball team gets back from their time at Hoover, the regional will be here, and if you want to get some Costa Vida when you go out there to Bluebell, you can certainly do that there on the third base line at Olsen Field. Their menu has some cool items out there, so check it out. Chili lime chicken, sweet pork burritos, chili lime chicken, sweet pork baja bowls, chips, queso, key lime pie, It is the place to go when you're ready to eat and watch some baseball. That's what you need to do is get some Costa Vida. And then, of course, you can go in-store and get the home run combo because right now it is a home run type of season, and that's where you can get one of Jace's favorites and Ryan Targoch's favorite, which we're going to talk about a little bit in the next segment. The home run combo is an entree with sweet pork enchiladas, smothered in house-made queso, rice and beans, and a large drink. All that for $11.99 when you go to Costa Vida out there. And by the way, go to South College Station and check it out. They have all the great food there, the morning food, the breakfast food, the breakfast tacos. You can have your meetings there. You can all get it done there in South College Station. When you go out there, say hi to Holly for us. She's a great Aggie, and she brought this vision to College Station because she wanted Fresh Mex done the right way, and she's going to help make it the right way out there. The address is 4501 Mills Park Circle in College Station. 4501 Mills Park Circle in College Station. It's Costa Vida. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy Liucci is with us. Billy, we kind of touched on baseball. We talked about Schloss at Troubadour, but let's talk about the weekend itself because Thursday we got treated to a beautiful pitching performance and the walk-off victory on the walk, right? Then you lose Friday, a game that could have gone either way. And then Saturday, the bats erupt and you had the Ryan Targach emotional ending to that one, which was awesome to see the run rule. So let's just kind of break it down as they're getting ready to head to Hoover, which I think they're in the process of leaving right now, and the way the season has gone. This is more like what we've seen all year long, what we saw this weekend against the premier pitching staff in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Saturday, like Slosh said, like that was the back end of their rotation, but that's the back end of Arkansas's rotation. You better get ready if you're an opponent to A&M because you're going to have to face them with the back end of your rotation. Whether you're in College Station for a regional, whether you're in here for Super in Game 3, or whether you're especially in Omaha. I mean, it's especially true in the regional and in Omaha. There are going to be times where teams are going to have to try to navigate this lineup with the back end of their rotation, and that is, you saw Arkansas, whose back end is better than anyone's, and by about the 5th, 6th inning of that thing, they just couldn't keep up. And they were giving up bombs from the first inning on, but they really lost control of the thing as you started getting deeper into that baseball game. And that's – I've come with this team. You always watch baseball like this, but there are times when you might think, man, the offense isn't getting it going today as much, but you look up and it's 4th inning and you're going, we got more than half a game left. Or it's the 6th inning and you go, there's still a third of this game left. They got to go through this lineup at least once more. And now it's the 3rd time through. You're going to eventually touch up pitching staffs with this group. When you're that far into your bullpen, no matter how good, or your rotation, no matter how good a staff you have, and Arkansas actually has the best, you're in trouble. So the fact that they showed that Saturday, and then Thursday were the first team to beat Hagen Smith, and he was on his game. He was dealing. And to win that game and figure out how to do it 1-0 with Prager, with Aschenbeck, I wouldn't say Slosh rolled the dice because that's your best chance to win is that duo. But he went all in. They really needed to win that game when he threw Aschenbeck out there for inning 3, inning 4, and it's 0-0. Winning that game was obviously the difference in the series, but it was also – I know he said it. You felt like you had to win one to kind of secure that top 8, and I think they had it secured no matter what. But with committees, why not nail it down? And winning that series, I think, totally nailed it down. And look, I thought there was a big difference in winning Saturday or not. Maybe not in the grand scheme of things if you're going to be a top 8 seed anyway. But A, I think it completely nailed it down. B, I think the way it went down with that Targach moment, which was incredible, and I was sitting there behind the dugout where we were sitting during the game and saw him walking off, and he did the interview, and he came back, and he was waving at certain people, and I just kind of caught eyes with him, and he just, it's like, just something about just hitting, smile and a thumbs up, and that dude's an Aggie, like you, like me, like her, like all of us, Aggie. And he's going to be for the rest of his life. And that moment, I think, is so cool for him. And I hope he has another moment. I hope he goes and hits like a bomb in Omaha or a pinch hit home run at Bluebell Park in the next couple weeks, whatever that may be. But to be a starter, to lead the league in RBIs, to be such a key player on a World Series team. I've seen that dude hit home runs in one game from both sides of the plate. I've seen him hit, just destroy LSU in Baton Rouge. I've seen him be given the number 12 because of what he means to the program and to this team. Imagine doing all that and then having, your struggles like he's had this year and them say, hey, now our team's struggling, hitting the ball for a couple weeks like we're used to. Early would love to be in the dugout. Who's going to coach first? Hey, man, we're going to have you coach first base. He just does it. He does it like, I'm a part of this team. You're asking me to do something for this team. I'm going to do it. Not many people are built like that. So much so that there's a lot of athletes you wouldn't ask to ever do something like that. They'd be disruptive. No. So I hope he has another moment like that one, but it was cool, even if he doesn't, that he did that day. So that was amazing. Beating Arkansas, though, to me, you played 10 SEC series. Had they lost that series, I've said all year, super regionals are best of 3. Pretty much every team, probably even including Ole Miss when you make it be at Oxford, most of those teams have the potential to go to super regionals. The only one that doesn't, the only 2 that don't are Auburn and Ole Miss. Every other one of those teams has the potential to be in a super regional. Most of them will be favored to do so. To me, if you would have won, that would be 6 out of 10 that you would have won. Yeah. You would have lost your last 3. 6 out of 10, you were 6 out of 7, then you lost your last 3. Something just would have felt a little off about that. It would have been a little concerning. May not have even mattered. But to beat Arkansas, now you've won 70% of your series against elite competition. There are 4 teams, in my opinion, in the SEC that can win a national title this year. It's Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and A&M in no particular order. Up until this weekend, A&M did not play any of those 3. And they did not have any kind of easy path in the SEC this year.
But they didn't play those
But they
teams.
didn't play those top 3.
Yep.
Now, they ended up playing one of the 3, so they only missed 2. But they didn't play the top 3 until this weekend. So you were 0-0 against that top 3. So to come in and beat Arkansas 2 out of 3, now that was to end the season with that kind of test. I think that matters a ton going into the postseason. And the way you beat them, to beat Hagen Smith, to a tough second game that could have gone either way. Arkansas with some clutch hitting late, and then to smoke them in game 3. I don't think it could have gone any better for the Aggies in terms of setting themselves up for going into the postseason. And I don't know what happens in Hoover to make it ideal or optimal. I don't know if it's winning the whole thing. I don't know if it's going 2-2 and whatever it is, you don't want to burn out. But like Slosh said, unless you're going to just go win it. So, but I think to end the regular season like this was really significant. And I think now when you start looking at their body of work, their RPI, again, they've won 7 out of 10 SEC series. You're not talking about any kind of mini slump going into the postseason because you ended that emphatically this weekend. So I think this was kind of the dream scenario.
For this team to win a national championship, Evan Oschenbeck, Ryan Prager, Gavin Grohovic, Jace Lavalette, Braden Montgomery, those guys are going to have to be stars, and we got back to seeing them as stars this weekend. And that's, to me, like just something like we need the other players to obviously contribute, but you getting your dudes back to being the dudes and not having little issues is going to go a long way.
It was nice to see them all hit home runs yesterday, and I think the other guy you didn't mention in there that have to be like that too is Cortez.
Oh yeah, he was huge.
And I know he walked some guy. He was electric Saturday, and everything. Every out but one there for a while was a strikeout. I think it was maybe 7 out of 8 or 8 out of 9 outs were strikeouts. I mean, he was absolutely.
He worked himself out of a jam.
8 Ks. There you go. I mean, like absolutely electric there. So, if he pitches like that, and you know what you're getting out of Oschenbeck, and Prager sitting there going toe to toe with Hagen Smith. By the way, I know you guys talked about it. Arkansas fans think, oh, they can't hit. That's not true. And it's like they're just built where it's almost like they don't have to as much because of that pitching.
Yeah.
But Aggie pitching was really good this weekend. I mean, they kind of had one bad inning. You know, I mean, there was a 3-run homer, was it yesterday, right? 3-run homer yesterday. But it was really 2 3-run homers. Really 1 inning on Saturday, I keep saying Saturday, on Friday. 1 inning where they scored the 3 runs, and that was the difference. And then there was kind of 1 pitch on Saturday. But all told, this team gave up, 10 runs in 3 games?
You're going to win that series.
So Aggie pitching, like, And we even talked about it. They definitely walked too many guys. The couple of weekends, I think, was Oxford and Baton Rouge. But they also had a couple of really nice outings mixed in there as well by some important guys. So I think I could see their pitching really starting to round into form.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with a football segment next on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Football off-season question for you, Billy. And by the way, if you guys have questions for Billy, 979-693-1150. You can call or text the program. So I want to rank SEC coaches and their chances of winning a conference title over the next 3 years. And then, based on the information we have today, obviously we have high expectations for the football program. There are teams that sometimes get all this love and then they fall back to reality. And there's teams that we're not even thinking about that could push up the list. Like you look at Billy Napier, he might get fired by middle of October, but if he wins a bunch of these games, is their arrow pointing up in the next couple of years? So 3-year time period, Billy.
Oh, you're doing a 3-year time? Okay,
yeah,
so here's who's out for me. Clark Lee.
Out.
Slick Sammy Pittman.
He may not make it through the season.
Yeah. I think Jeff Levy's out. I don't think look, if Mike Leach couldn't win an SEC title, Jeff Lebby certainly not.
Right.
And Dan Mullen didn't win one there with Dak Prescott. I think they're out. Although I'm not saying Lebby's going to fail, but certainly not. Shane Beamer, I think they've
peaked.
Whatever, if you want to call it a peak, they peaked out under him. Then I'd go Mark Stoops, and look how low I've got him.
Is that 12th?
And that's who A&M almost hired to be the head coach. And I do think, obviously he'd had a ton more to work with at Texas A&M in terms of just all the amenities and everything they put behind it. But that's still a little low for me to go hire him. So I'm Xing him off of there. Then I'd go Billy Napier. I guess in the next 3 years, his hope certificate has the name DJ Lagway on it, in my opinion. I'm not as off that thing as most people are. I think there's a world where they could be better than expected this year, and he can kind of have a stay of execution.
Is that
but
good
he
enough
also
to keep
might
his
be
job?
fired by the end of September.
Right.
No, I think he could have a season that was more than enough to keep his job, but it could also go the wrong way. And I did forget one name on here, and I'm gonna move him way up. Got Brent Venables, pretty far down.
Okay.
I don't believe in Oklahoma in the SEC and winning a championship. I don't think they're going to stink. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be a pretty good team
Like
this year.
8-4 good?
Yeah. But I just don't see it building the way I see some other things building. I don't see him having done anything close to what Steve Sarkisian's done in terms of having his roster ready for the SEC.
Sure.
Maybe long term, OU has a history of success, not short term. And by the way, OU also has had several coaches that haven't succeeded. There's a bunch of them between Barry Switzer and Bob Stoops.
Yep.
So it's not guaranteed up there, and it's certainly not guaranteed in this new world that they're going into. Right ahead of him, I actually am going Eli Drinkwitz.
Really?
Now,
Okay.
I don't think Missouri will win one in the next 3 seasons, you said. But because he has a team that I'm not predicting them to win it this year, but he has a team this year that would rate, if you're picking the 5 or 6
with a chance
most likely to win it, they would be towards the bottom of that, but they'd be a better chance than most programs. Probably a better chance this year than A&M even.
Yeah.
So because of that, he gets moved up a little bit there. I'll go Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
I think people are getting a little too out in front of their skis with Heupel. I'm still sitting here going, what has he really done there besides make them week to week dangerous team again? But I don't think he's really, Hendon Hooker was an absolute badass. It was like kind of everything magically came together for him that year. That felt like he's kind of where Kevin Sumlin was early in his A&M career with Johnny and Mike and what they did. I think they're actually pretty similar, except Heupel had not bad, but like 500, slightly above first year, whereas Sumlin didn't. He had that breakthrough year in year 2, and then year 3, they weren't anything special last season at all. So Heupel there because they do have resources and history there. Then I'd do Hugh Freeze. You guys were talking about him in Auburn this weekend. Hugh Freeze is dangerous as hell. Do not forget that, Aggie fans. Hugh Freeze is dangerous. Hugh Freeze had a terrible QB last year
he's got the same
during
one
the
this
season.
year.
He's got the same one this year. I bet that guy makes big strides. He's got receivers now. Hugh Freeze, what he did, don't forget what he did at Ole Miss. Don't forget what he did at Liberty. He's at freaking Auburn, where Gene Chizik won a national title, where Gus Malzahn played for a national title and had players on top of players. So I think Hugh Freeze is a better coach I know he's a better coach than those guys, particularly on offense. As bad as that team was last year, they lost to New Mexico State. They were like a play away from beating. You guys talked about Alabama, and it took a miracle. They were a play away from beating Georgia.
Yep.
They controlled that whole football game. So
they also lost a bunch of stinkers.
They did. Well, I said New Mexico State of all of them. So Hugh Freeze there. After that,
I don't think our list is that different, by the way.
After that, I go right now. I go Elko.
So
I think,
7th spot, roughly 6th spot.
I've got him 6.
Yep.
I'm going Elko, and I think if you did this a year from now, he'd go even further up. But you're saying the next 3. I first of all, he did it very quickly at Duke. What he did in year 1 at Duke was remarkable, and he would have been even more remarkable in year 2. I think had his QB not gotten hurt and lost for the season. So, I think with the way he handled the portal, the way he handled roster retention, what he's doing with the culture, the fact that it's going to be built on elite defense, and it looks like they can put a strong defense out on the field year 1, only to get better. I like their chances there. I think he's going to, with Colin Klein as his OC, I think the sky's the limit at Texas A&M. So I put Elko in that spot. I go Brian Kelly.
5th spot?
Because they could get it. They could put it together this year with Nuss. You look at how they're recruiting for a year from now. They're getting like top 3 players at every position, it seems like. He's proven he can win. He's proven that. But I think after this year, I could see Elko move up and Kelly move down. That when I look at this list, because Brian Kelly, to me, he's been there 2 seasons. He won the West in year 1. This past year, they were all right. Even when they won the West, they lost 3 regular season games. Like, this guy needs to go through a season and lose less than 3 regular season games. This past year, was it 4? I think it was 4. So I think it was 4, wasn't it?
No, I think
4
they
or
were
5.
I think they went 10-3.
Did they?
I think they went 10-3.
Well, finish a year with less than 3, first of all. You did that, because you did that with Jaden Daniels, who won a Heisman. Malik Neighbors, who's a top 10 pick. Brian Thomas, who was I think he was a first rounder too, right?
Mason Smith, hello.
So, to me, like Brian Kelly, there's still questions. I do think there's a reason why he was interested in that Michigan job, and people in Baton Rouge don't believe that, but he was, just like they didn't believe me when I said Denbrock would have left for the A&M job, and they laughed about it. Then he left for Notre Dame, and they say, oh, well, it's because he's from there. I have Kelly there. I have Kalen DeBoer at 4.
That's where I have him too.
Okay. Probably for the same reason, for what he's inheriting, and for just the fact that there will be that Bama lag. They've been so good for so long that kids are going to give them the benefit of the doubt until
a couple years.
They have reason not to.
Yep.
And, oh, by the way, he's a damn good coach. I think people forget that because they didn't get Dan Lanning, who I like Lanning a lot. Kalen DeBoer did a better job at Washington than Lanning did at Oregon. And Oregon's a better job. Kalen DeBoer's a freaking stud. So I got him there.
You and I are going to be different on 2 and 3.
He might be too low. I've got Lane Kiffin at 3.
I have him at 2.
Okay, I've got him at 3 because in him and Sark, I kind of have a similar thing here.
I know where you're going with this.
They haven't won like the big games, except Sark has won one of them.
The Bama game.
Yes. Lane Kiffin has not won. I don't think, like, he hangs his hat on beating Jimbo and A&M. Those were A&M teams that were 8-4 and 5-7 and 7-5. He hasn't won big games at Ole Miss.
But he's won more than Sark has. If you look at the last 5
more
years.
Big games?
No, just more games. Like he's in the SEC.
And he's done it against SEC opposition. I think, though, the reason why I have Sark at 2, and it's kind of both of them why they're at 2-3, they're built to do it this year. Now, I think with Texas, with Arch and the way they're recruiting, in years 2 and 3 of your time frame, I think Steve Sarkisian's team is built to stay up there.
Sure, I agree with that.
I don't think Lane Kiffin's is.
I think Lane, this is his year.
I think they've gone all in. I think their collective has gone all in. I don't think they can sustain it. I think teams like Texas and Texas A&M can sustain it. I also question Lane Kiffin, like, stability overseeing a program long term. With that said, he's at 3. I think they've got a real shot this year, and they've gone all in. Okay. Yep. I've got Sark at 2. Again, you're talking about the next 3 years. The reason I have him at 2, like compare him to a Mike Elko. I think Mike Elko's chances go from like way down here in year 1, giant jump. I think where Sark's starting out is Texas will have a top, I think 4, along with Ole Miss, Bama, and Georgia, a top 4 chance this year. If you're breaking down everyone's chances, they're top 4, if not like 2. So because of that, he's up there. And again, I do think they'll remain competitive moving forward. So I've got him at 2. If you're talking about chances to win one of the next 3 years, but it's really mainly because of their chances this season. And then number 1 is obvious.
Obviously Kirby.
Yep.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with one final segment. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
The benefit of the NIL.
All right, we're back on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time to end the day with double days. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's, who have been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. As a reminder, they are not open on Mondays. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Mac, I know you got a text or two for us to close out the show.
You guys just talked about coaches, so some think that Buzz will win the first title for basketball. They also believe that football will start knocking on the door and possibly make playoffs under Elko.
I think playoffs become a real possibility if you take care of September, like the conversations, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. If they beat Notre Dame, win at Florida, go up in Arlington and beat Arkansas again, then you can start looking at it, because then you can start going, okay, you can get there at 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, not for sure. I keep saying that. Like we just mentioned, Georgia,
yeah,
Texas,
Ole Miss,
and Bama, Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU. That's like 6 teams. I'm not saying they'll all be 10-2 or better, but I think it's a safe bet out of those 6. 3 of them will be 10-2 or better. And then if a fourth does, and then if you're saying is A&M going to be in that mix, like somebody's getting left out, maybe even at 4 of them. So, get through September, and then you start looking at it, and you go, okay, they got Mizzou, LSU, and Texas at home.
At home, yeah.
Mississippi State, South Carolina are lower down the SEC ladder.
Auburn on the road.
At Auburn will be a big one. So you kind of look at those 4 games, and you're going, what happens if they go 2-2 in those 4? Where do they stand? So, yeah, September would be, before I'd even start thinking about anything like that for this football team, I'd need to see them win at home against Notre Dame and go out to Gainesville and win in the Swamp 2 weeks later.
Thank you, Billy. Congrats to the women's
All right,
tennis
buddy.
team. Golf, go do it. We'll see you guys mañana.